Radio.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask any questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. And today, what are we going to talk about today? Does anybody know? Do we have any topics, Robert?
I don't know.
Canelo Triple G2, man.
A lot of action last night, was there?
Was there a fight on last night?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we got a hell of a train wreck of the week, guys. Stay tuned.
Oh wow.
All right. Well, how about Adrian Broner gets banned from Uber? Why are they hating on Broner? Why is everybody hating on Broner? I don't get that.
Because he's the train wreck
God.
of the world.
Beeb, how about this? How about that is not our train wreck of the week this week?
I thought for sure that was going to be our train wreck of the week.
Right. That just lets you know how bad our train wreck of the week is this week. First, we get started with the fight. Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez, the rematch for the WBC WBA Middleweight Championship. Canelo Alvarez wins by a razor-thin majority decision as he beats Gennady Golovkin by the scores of 114, 114, and 115, 113 twice. Canelo seemed to control the fight in the early going. It was surprising, man, to see Canelo as the aggressor over Triple G. I noticed one of the first things we noticed when he first came out was he was stepping forward. He had that front foot real wide. If you watch in that first round, all his weight is planted on his back foot. And that front foot is out really wide, almost like a rangefinder. So Triple G has to step over that to get in. As soon as he gets in, he's going to get countered. He had Triple G backing up almost the entire fight. He did a great job of controlling distance, but honestly, I think he was being outpunched by Triple G. Despite Triple G landing more shots, I thought Canelo was actually controlling the fight and had the better shots. The fight went back and forth. Almost every round could have went either way. And when you watch this fight over, literally every round could go either way. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. It depends on how you're scoring it. At the end of the fight, both fighters embraced, and all the bad blood seemed to go away, which was great. I had the fight scored a draw at 114 apiece. A lot of people are calling this fight a robbery. This was not a robbery, man.
No.
The fight was competitive. It was very close. All three of us on the panel saw the fight a different way. After this fight, to me, though, Canelo is the best middleweight in the world. Triple G, what do you have, a string of 20-some middleweight defenses?
20 consecutive title defenses. He tied Bernard Hopkins' record. Had he won last night, he would have broke it.
Right. I mean, that's an incredible run. But, hey, Canelo Alvarez, man. And, to me, it's got to be the fight of the year so far. Got to be the fight of the year.
Absolutely.
The one drawback to last night was the HBO announcers. The contract for Triple G and HBO expired last night after the fight. And in case you didn't know that, all you had to do was listen to the announcers have a love affair with Canelo. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Now that Triple G is gone, they have Canelo, and that's pretty much it. I don't see, this is when we watch Sky Sports, it's never like this. When we watch the Sky Sports, the English stuff, it's never like this. They are completely, they don't lean one way or the other.
Showtime calls it down the middle too.
Broadcasters all the time.
Yeah, I do too.
Showtime does a good job.
Always calls it down the middle.
Yeah.
Max Kellerman at one point said during the fight, this is what he said. He referred to the fight like the Andre Ward and Kovalev fight, the second fight, I guess. And he said that Canelo is winning the story of the fight, even if he's not winning the fight. What does that mean? What on earth is he talking about? What is that? What does that even mean? No idea.
What it means is that he's winning one aspect of the fight, which is called ring generalship. But there's three other, pieces of criteria that you use. So you have to account for that too. I thought Canelo was winning the ring generalship part, and that's what he probably should have said. He should have said that Canelo's the ring general tonight, which is odd because Triple G was the ring general last fight, and the roles are reversed here. But to sit there and try to over dramatize it and make it, sound more significant than it really is, that's a problem, because you're misleading people who were a lot of casual fans purchased this pay-per-view last night, and you're trying to tell a story that maybe really isn't there, which I've always accused them of doing several times.
I agree.
Well, I think boxing on HBO is pretty much dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just, if they would just lay off the house fighter and just call the fight,
right, exactly,
I think that would be great. Just lay off the house fighter. Just call the fight. That's what you're there for. That's what you're there for. And we got a lot of phone callers lining up. We're going to get our opinions and everything like that. But now, before we go to the phone calls, how long, hey, Beeb, how long do you think it's going to take somebody to call in and say that Golovkin's now a bum and that, the whole thing was a sham and he was overhyped and everything like that? How long do you think that's going to take?
Well, I challenge, this is what I'm going to say. And I'm trying not to be long-winded here, but go on BoxRec and look at how many registered middleweights. Look how many registered middleweights there are in the sport of boxing right now worldwide. So if anyone is in the top 10 or even the top 5 or the top 3, they're among the elite when you're looking at possibly 4,000 to 5,000 registered middleweights. So when you're among that, that's like being the top of your class. So if you can achieve that, then that's really saying something good. And to try to diminish that is crazy.
I agree. Beeb, what were your thoughts on the fight itself?
Once again, this fight was razor close. And when you're watching a fight, and after every round, if you're not immediately going 10-9, 10-9 for the guy who you thought won the round, if you're actually taking an extra second or two to really think hard about it, and you're saying to yourself, I could see how maybe a judge could give that to the other guy, but I'm giving it to this guy, then you know it's a close fight. You know it's a close fight. And the roles were reversed because Canelo was the aggressor. But not only that, the one key component in this fight that I thought Canelo did outstanding is count how many times Canelo's back was to the ropes this fight. He fought this fight in the center of the ring. And what I said last week was he was getting the better of the exchanges in the first fight when they were in the center of the ring. But, Golovkin, if you notice, landed the big shots when Canelo was up against the ropes. Both guys traded power shots, but Canelo threw less punches. He threw less jabs. Triple G was more active. So this was, once again, the classic case of, did you like the quantity over the quality, or did you like the quality over the quantity? And whenever you're put in a situation like that, sort of like Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Calzaghe, that was the same situation. Both guys landed a fair amount of power shots. They were pretty close in that department. If you're looking at it with the naked eye, Copybox did have Canelo landed more power shots. But Golovkin did land a lot more jabs. So you find yourself in a situation where a guy may be landing 3 jabs to another guy's 1 right hand. How do you determine what's more significant? Are the 3 jabs more important, or is the 1 right hand more important? So, to me, sometimes with Triple G, the jab is almost as hard as a right hand. He has a very heavy-handed jab. So, you can argue either way. But definitely the roles were reversed. I think Canelo did win the battle of the ring generalship. You could argue that maybe he landed flashier punches. I don't know. But the rounds were razor close. I could see how you could give the rounds either way. It's very easy to see that. So I did have the fight scored 116 to 112 for Golovkin. But The first round I had for Golovkin, could have easily given it to Canelo. The 12th round I gave to Golovkin, could have easily given it to Canelo. 5th round, the 8th round, 2 more swing rounds. So you flip those swing rounds around, and then you have then you can come up with the 115, 113 for Canelo. So I think Canelo deserves full credit for this performance. I think he kept his fight in the center of the ring. He was the aggressor. He kept coming forward. Both guys had great chins in this fight, but the harder puncher, or supposedly the harder puncher, you would basically expect him to have more of an impact, and that wasn't the case early on. Now, Golovkin did hurt Canelo in the 10th round, I felt, but Canelo came back. He rallied. So we have to give Canelo full credit for this. This was not a robbery. This was a fight that could have gone either way. And then you can sit there and say, well, this guy always gets the close decisions, and I've said that several times. But in those other controversial fights, there was always that one wacky scorecard that kind of made you say, this seems corrupt. But those scorecards were fair. They were 1 draw and 2 115, 113. So there was no controversy in the scoring last night whatsoever. And I used an example today when I made a video. When you're being tried for a criminal offense, and you were charged for 2 criminal offenses or 3 criminal offenses prior, and you beat those cases, okay? Those cases are done. They're left in the past. The judge, the jury, is not supposed to bring those other cases into account when making the assessment and the judgment towards the current case that you're in. So regardless, if you never saw any of those other fights, and this was the first time you saw Canelo and Triple G fight, you wouldn't have all of that other info to influence your mindset. So people already had that mental baggage going into this fight, saying, okay, well, can this guy ever lose a close decision? But this was probably the closest fight that he's ever been in, okay? And this was the closest fight that he's ever been in that didn't have a wacky scorecard attached to it. So given that, take all that other BS out of the equation, score the fight round by round, add up the swing rounds that you've seen, and flip them around a little bit, and you can come up with a wide array of scorecards. And I have no problem with the decision last night. And I was emotionally vested in this fight. I had money on the fight, and I picked Triple G. But when you have money on a fight, you're emotionally vested. But I took my gambler's hat off at the end of this fight, and I really tried to be objective. And even when this fight was over, I wasn't sure of the outcome. I don't think, were any of you guys sure of the outcome when this fight was over? Did you have an inkling? Did you have an inkling that you could see it maybe going one way or the other? This was not definitive in my mind. And let's be honest. Did everyone really feel as though, that Triple G clearly won this fight? Because I'm hearing statements like, oh, Triple G clearly won this fight. I don't think anyone clearly won this fight. This was a close fight. I'm sorry. And that's just the way I see it. So, Triple G possibly did show his age, or possibly this was just the wrong style. Possibly Canelo is just that good. He's just gotten that much better. And he was the guy that was able to show versatility, because he was shown to be effective going backward, laying up against the ropes in the first fight to some degree, and he was effective moving forward. Where you can argue that Triple G was less effective in this fight moving backward than he was moving forward. So Canelo may be the more versatile fighter, and he showed an extra wrinkle last night. And Triple G, even though he was backing up and people saying, yeah, he landed jabs, when he was backing up and landed jabs, they were basically get off the jabs, trying to stifle the forward momentum. And when he wasn't able to stifle the forward momentum with the jab, then you get the appearance that he's possibly in retreat mode, or he's being forced back, which is what a lot of the judges, I believe, probably saw it that way. So a great fight. Should we get a third fight? We could, but if we don't, I won't cry over it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of a third fight. I think we've seen this one. I think we've seen, I really didn't want to see this one when it was made. This was a better fight than the first one, but I don't need to see a third one at this point. There's no point to it. I mean, I think that, I thought Triple G won the first one. I mean, no matter what was said, I thought it was harder to make a case for Canelo winning the first one than it was for Triple G. But this one, I don't think you can. It was there. Look, man, you're going to get the same thing. They're both evenly matched, and I don't know that you will get the same thing next time because Triple G is older. I think he is slipping a little bit. I thought he was slipping in the Jacobs fight, quite honestly, and everybody laughed. There were there's no way. Well, I take a look. I mean, you tell me. So Robert, let's go to you. How did you have the fight, and what were your thoughts on it?
Okay. First of all, to quote Joe Cortez, I'm fair and I'm firm. Because you know me, if you've listened to this show long enough, I am a big Triple G supporter, always have been and probably always will be. But both times now that these two guys have fought, I have scored this fight for Canelo Alvarez. The first time they fought, when it was ruled a draw, I had it 7-5 Canelo. This time when they fought, I wound up having it 8-4 for Canelo. I mean, you can root for a guy, you can even bet money on a guy, but if you're a serious boxing fan and you're going to sit down and you're going to really watch a fight, just because a person may be one of your favorite fighters, you cannot score in his benefit. You've got to score it the way you see it when it's in front of you. And on both occasions, I thought Canelo won each fight. And depending on the pay-per-view sales, guys, I do think that we might see a third fight. It depends on how many people bought this fight and whether it exceeds the 1.3 million pay-per-view buys that they got last time. Do I want to see a third fight? I wouldn't mind, but I've got to be honest. Canelo Alvarez showed that he is the future of the middleweight division. He completely changed his game plan from fight 1 to fight 2. And Abel Sanchez, I got a message for you. Be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. Remember, you kept complaining and going out to the press and, well, I want him to actually fight. I don't want him to run. He needs to come forward. Okay, he planted his flag last night in the middle of the damn ring. And could your guy do anything about it? Absolutely not. So be careful what you ask for. I don't know what the future holds for Triple G, because he's got no bargaining power left. He lost all of his belts. He's 36 years old. And all the leverage that he had going into this fight is now gone. Canelo holds 2 belts. Canelo now holds all the options. I don't know where Triple G goes from here, and I've got to say that honestly. I don't know. Can he still fight? Sure he can, but honestly, I don't know who he'd fight, and I don't know how good he would be, because he's got no negotiating power, and he is 36 years old. Tom Loeffler and Abel Sanchez and crew, they need to sit down with him and take a long, hard look at what his future holds. Because Canelo right now, with the win last night, holds all the cards. He could fight almost anybody, and everybody'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, but I mean, you brought up a really good point. I mean, and like I said, I've said Triple G was fading. Like I said, since the Jacobs fight, I thought he was slower. I thought he got hit too much. And he didn't look very Triple G-like, put it that way, or what people were used to. But where does he go from here, Robert? I mean, Well,
I have always abdicated, and I would have abdicated this even had he won the fight last night, that Daniel Jacobs deserves a second fight with him. Daniel Jacobs did well enough in the first fight, and remember, those scorecards were close also. And if memory serves, that was razor thin. I mean, there was no wide scorecards, and it was done in New York. Although I don't think that fight will happen now because, again, Triple G has nothing to negotiate with.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 36 years old, and he basically falls, behind everybody else. Canelo holds all the cards. You're probably going to see Canelo fight people such as Billy Joe Saunders, Danny Jacobs, Charlo, David Lemieux. Who does Triple G fight? They're going to really have to sit down and take a long, hard look at where he goes from here. And remember, his contract is up at HBO. So what television network is going to take a shot and give somebody a deal who's 36 years old with no longer any bargaining power or any belts?
Yeah. What do you think about Canelo? I think he goes on to fight David Lemieux next. David Lemieux, that's the easiest fight to make. He just knocked out Spike O'Sullivan last night. But I mean, as far as Lemieux goes, that's not really a fight I want to see. I mean, Lemieux was battered over with Triple G. I don't need to see this fight. I really don't. It's a one-sided wash, I think. Go ahead.
No, but Oscar's going to keep it in-house, and that's going to be an easy title defense. I mean, looking at it on Canelo's side of things, his options are wide open. Lemieux, whether we want to see it or not, David Lemieux will probably be next.
Yeah.
But after that, I definitely want to see him fight either Jacobs or Charlo.
I want to see him fight Charlo. I think that's the fight to make, is that Canelo and Charlo fight.
I think because of Hearn, I can see a Jacobs fight being easier to make than a Charlo fight because of the Al Heyman factor involved in the Charlo fight. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know, man. I think that the Charlo fight would be pretty easy, honestly.
Think it'd be easy to make?
Yeah, I do. As long as they're not going to get, as long as Golden Boy's not going to get crazy about it. Yeah, I think that's an easier fight to make.
Well, and has Golden Boy ever worked with the PBC?
I don't know right offhand. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know if they have or not.
I think I agree with Beeb. I think
Jojo.
I think he'll.
Al Heyman Jr. in the chat just said Jojo Diaz versus Gary Russell. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Al Heyman Jr. Yeah, there you go. I forgot about that, but no, I honestly think Lemieux will be next, and then you'll either see Charlo or Jacobs. That's what I see. And then don't forget Billy Joe Saunders is still out there. They could possibly do something with him also.
Yeah, for sure. And also, Georgie's in the chat, and he brought up a really good point. Just remember, if you're watching and you like our show, you like what we're doing, just give us a thumbs up and go subscribe to us. Go to iTunes and subscribe. So give us some thumbs up on the videos. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, and that's to me, that was pretty much a fight, man. I tell you, like I said, it was close. It was too close to call. Honestly, it could have went either way. Whoever you had winning, you can't really argue with, But for sure, that's fight of the year.
If these guys fight 10 times, you're going to have 10 different outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you think about that. I mean, it's that close. It's that close. All right, we're going to turn it over to you guys now. We're actually going to go to the phones and get you guys thoughts on this. There's a lot of people on the line right now, so do me a favor, just keep everything keep everything concise. We're going to talk about the fight and your opinions on the fight, and then just keep in mind your fellow callers on the other line. Okay. All right, Robert, we're going to go to your favorite first.
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Robert, what kind of dumb question is that? As the Golden Boy and Al Heyman work together, they work like every fucking year for the past 4 years.
No, Jason, I completely forgot that they did the Russell Diaz fight.
That's not even any of it, dude. That's like the fourth fight they did. They did Amir Khan versus Canelo, Chavez versus Canelo. Those are all Al Heyman fighters.
Okay,
but anyway,
yeah, Jason's going to know the Al Heyman history.
HBO slobbering all over Canelo, but they were slobbering way more over fucking GGG.
They sounded like you talking to Al Heyman. They sounded like you about Al Heyman and PBC. That's what they sounded like. Oh, yum
Yep.
yum. Oh, yeah.
Did you hear? Did you hear them slobbering all over GGG? They said GGG's resume provided so many iconic moments. GGG beating Matthew Macklin with that body shot was an iconic moment. Are you fucking kidding me? That was like the biggest bum fight I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Well,
and then they're talking about GGG beating Daniel Gill was an iconic moment. What the fuck was that? Did you guys miss that? No, but you guys cherry pick facts so much. Like it's so.
We cherry pick facts. Are you serious? We cherry pick facts.
So many facts. 90 minutes last night.
No, no, but go back and listen. Go back and listen.
What iconic moment? What was
go back and listen to the broadcast. Go back and listen to the broadcast. Jim Lampley was the one hanging on Golovkin's nuts, and the other two were hanging on Canelo's nuts. So it was. Yeah, it was kind of. It was kind of balanced.
That is true.
Like Jim Lampley was telling you, oh, this round is close, but Golovkin got it. Golovkin got it. Like he kept trying to sell that to everybody. If you think about it.
Yeah, who needs to check their facts now, son?
He's got the worst resume in the past 10 years, and he was talking about iconic moments by beating Curtis Stevens and fucking Daniel Gill. Son. Can you imagine
it took us the first call,
with Daniel Gill and Curtis Stevens?
They would be like, one call.
A joke. They would call that resume a joke.
It took us one call to get to Golovkin's a bum now that he lost.
Yeah. That's funny, isn't it?
His resume is filled with bums. I didn't call him a bum.
Yeah,
I thought he did pretty
That's right, because he's going. He might be going to
I'll
PBC now. So
I'll guarantee you, PBC would love to have him. They would love to put him on Fox Prime Time, give him like $2 million a fight. He only makes $1 million on HBO, so he should go fight on
Jason,
PBC.
Who fights him at age 36 now? He's got no belt.
Oh, Heyman can pick somebody up.
Charlo versus him, fights like Charlo versus GGG, Hurd versus GGG. Those are big fights. I think those could do like $3 million on Fox ratings wise. What do you think, Beeb? Don't you think they could? Big rating?
Absolutely. I mean,
for sure.
I think PBC's got a good thing going right now, without question. And I'm not gonna say anything bad about PBC. I like the new deal. I like the new deal a lot.
Beeb, since they have $60 million, they can pay him like $2-3 million a fight, or $2 million minimum. Like he makes like $1 million for his last fight on HBO, so he can make double on PBC Fox. And he's got a big fan base, like MMA fans. GGG has fans all over the place. I was reading like tweets from MMA fighters. Everybody in MMA thought GGG won, so he's got a big following.
A lot of people thought he won. A lot of people thought he won.
Yeah. Also, the undercard was kind of like showcase fights, and Jaime Munguia, he looked good, but that Cook guy, I don't know what he looked like, a fucking 147 pounder to me. He was fucking.
Yeah, he was
Munguia
small.
Was just too fucking big.
Yeah,
he was like 180 pounds.
Big.
Also, dude, did you guys see Roman Gonzalez's face after the fight? His face looked swollen as hell. Again, what the hell's going on with him? After every fight, his face was like swollen as hell.
I think he's done, man. Last night did not change my opinion. That guy was tailor-made for him, and if he gets in against anybody that knows what the hell they're doing, Roman is toast.
He kind of he looks miserable to me. Like even after he wins the fight, he looks sad to me. Like that he doesn't even want to fight. Maybe he's just fighting for money. And they paid Garrett fucking Sullivan $400K, and they paid the Lemieux like $200K. I don't know what was that about.
I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that.
That was a joke.
It's crazy.
But I think that's probably because he had turned on GGG, because I remember I told you Golden Boy probably told him to, and that's why they had to pay him extra just because to take care of him. That's probably what happened. Remember they offered him Golovkin, he could have made a couple $100,000 there. He turned it down. And now he probably lost the Canelo fight too, so he's fucking fucked up. He should have taken that GGG fight. And,
so Jason, you had it for Canelo last night? Did you have it for Canelo?
I had it for Canelo. I even had the first fight for Canelo or a tie. I didn't really think it was a robbery. I thought his punches were way more cleaner. And last night, from the first round, if you saw the first frame, like 30 seconds, his foot, if you saw his foot and GGG's foot, Canelo's foot was right next to him. He would not give a fucking inch, dude. That's how he started the fight. And GGG did not expect that. And Abel Sanchez did not get any heat after the fight. People should have said, did you fail as a trainer tonight? Because you've been accusing Canelo of failing as a fighter. Did you fail as a trainer because your fighter didn't follow your game plan? Because Abel was like, oh, you didn't follow the game plan. Nobody in the
and that's another thing. That's another thing. People are shitting on Abel. But if you listen in the corner, Abel was telling him what to do. He was telling him, you got to go out there, you got to throw punches, you got to step to him. And he even told him, he goes, you're losing. He said, you're losing. And, he tried to light a fire under him. So I think, that Abel had the game plan, but we can't take away from what Canelo did too. So maybe by Canelo doing what he did, offset what Triple G was doing. But it seemed like Triple G didn't really start stepping it up though until like the 9th round, like when he started realizing he was losing those middle rounds. So I don't think it was Abel's fault. Everyone's telling him to get rid of Abel now. It was Abel's fault.
Yeah.
So
No,
you shouldn't get rid of him. That's
No.
GGG's the same guy. But did you see him whisper in GG's ear? He didn't want to say it on camera. He like leaned into his ear. He's like, "We're losing here."
he said it. I heard him say it. Yeah. Goes, "We're losing here, G."
Yeah.
And you know what? I have no problem with what he did before the fight, because I think that was psychological warfare. He wanted Canelo to come at Triple G, and most of us thought that if Canelo fought that type of fight that he fought last night, that it would be in Triple G's favor. But we were wrong. Well, at least I was wrong about it.
Beeb, did you read the article Eddie did in The Guardian about AJ versus Povetkin ticket sales being slower than usual? Did you read that?
Yes, I did. I heard about that. That's true.
He said before we used to put the AJ fights on, as soon as we put the ticket sale, boom, 90K. Now we're having to work for it. He said, I'm kind of mad because people on the street are asking me when Wilder is, And
Yeah.
they're kind of losing 10,000 ticket sales because people are waiting. They're like, we want Wilder. So that's 10,000 tickets they could have sold, if Wilder was here right now. So that can't be making them happy.
No, I hear you.
Somebody in the chat just said there were 80,000 tickets sold.
75 or 74, and he's doing comedy skits on IFL. That's how desperate he's getting. He did a comedy skit like 2 days ago with some Indian comedian, put it on IFL TV. It was kind of cringy, but all right, guys, that's my call. Take care.
All right, man.
See ya.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
That's over. Thank God.
That was actually not bad this week. That wasn't a bad call.
It wasn't too bad.
No, that wasn't a bad call.
We've had worse. 937. 937, you're live.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey, Wood.
Hey, what's happening, Wood?
Not much. We got all the fighters in the game in Ohio, but not too many fight fans to chop it up with. So I had to check in with you guys tonight with it being such a marquee fight, and to try to see where you guys were with it. It's cool that everybody had a different winner. I'm with Beeb. I had Canelo winning it. I'm sorry, Canelo. Triple G winning it. I was wondering who GGG was, listening to Jason, but I guess that's his vernacular. But I had Triple G winning it by 7-5. I thought Canelo needed that 12th round to get a draw, and I felt like he didn't get it. So I had to fight for Triple G. I don't think it was pretty what he was doing and how he got it done. But I saw a 36-year-old guy go in there and will himself, in the middle of the fight, 4th through 6th round or whatever. It looked like he was falling apart. It looked like it was a lot of fight left and that he wasn't going to be able to cross the finish line. But I saw the guy will himself into pulling it out. And, when I looked down at my scorecard, that's who I had it for. So I'm not going to hold you guys up tonight. I do think for us to come down on the guy for not saying, for not speaking with Max after the fight, I thought both guys kind of did some things that we complained about them not doing in the first fight. And I don't think he got a lot of credit for, the adjustments that he made, even though that's not his strong suit. But I think that was and even listening to they were making it like if Triple G didn't win the fight, like they were going to take him out in the locker room and just put him down or something if he didn't win that fight. It wasn't like that serious. But I'm
like taking a horse out the pasture.
Say what?
Yeah.
Like taking a horse out to pasture.
Yeah, it was like if he doesn't win this fight, it's over with for him. So anyway, I was just saying I felt like him not speaking to it, for the guy to only win on one card between the two fights, giving everything that he gave to it, putting himself in harm's way to try to pull that fight out and not get anything for it, not get much recognition for it. I'm okay with it. And I'm a lot better with him not saying anything and maybe trying to explain something that was kind of a complex situation with English not being his first language, I'm pretty much okay with him not saying nothing versus, you know, Adrian Broner sitting up talking about, I whipped your bitch ass, I beat your bitch ass. You know, I'm glad. Sometimes if you don't have anything good to say, you just don't say it. Yep. And then just like Roy Jones alluded to, Abel Sanchez had been the mouthpiece and had said so much before the fight. Triple G might have been like, talk to him. You know, he's the one that talked all of this up and has been doing all the talking. I felt like in the middle of the fight, even though it was so much animosity going into it, I thought in the middle of the fight, when the two guys had shown each other, you know, that it was going to be a long night, it was going to be a battle, I thought Triple G was one of the first guys, you know, first of the two, to really tap up the gloves and show some respect to the other guy and really take that personal junk out of it. I thought the guys hugged it out immediately after the fight, and everybody was a gentleman about it. And I just thought at the end of the night he was like, damn, and I couldn't even get a you know, one of the cards. So I don't hold it against the guy for not speaking with the media. You know, he did come out and do the post-fight press conference, you know, behind the scenes. So I'm not gonna get down on him too bad for that. I thought it was a good fight. I don't know what he wins. I don't know what he would get other than getting a nice bag for showing up for the third fight. He would be, you know, a year older or, you know, 8 or 9 months older and whatnot. And you know, I don't know what he gets other than just cashing out. But it was a great fight. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And that was pretty much all I got.
All right. Wood, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it. And Wood's always got the good. Beeb, I always tell you the best calls come from Ohio.
I agree.
I agree too.
I agree.
Well, and
our guy.
Wood is always a good call. So.
Yeah, always.
At least Ohio doesn't have Jason, so that's a saving grace.
I don't think Ohio would have Jason. That would be like, I mean, that would. No, there's no way. A state of this magnitude would not take somebody like him as a resident. No way. We'll let Georgia keep him. All right.
There you go.
Area code 111-111-1111. Go. You're live.
Hey, you like my phone number?
I like it. It's very unique. Yeah. I love it. I actually thought, you know what, when you called, when I saw the 111, I actually thought this was Wood because he usually calls like from,
sometimes when we get one of those calls, Eric, it's overseas.
Ah, look at that. Look at Robert.
I was just calling from my home phone in this block just in case I want to fucking harass people.
How are you, man?
There you go.
I can tell you this. Number one, stop saying that Golovkin and Bernard Hopkins had the most middleweight title defenses because they don't. Bernard Hopkins defended the actual middleweight title 6 times after he beat Felix Trinidad, and Golovkin, we're not even sure if he's ever been the lineal champion. I think too much read to that. But I can tell you this. I was extremely impressed last night because it was the first time I bought a pay-per-view in probably over a decade where I wasn't pissed off that I got taken for my money.
Very much so,
I mean,
yeah.
This is the thing. Guys, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, they're trying to knock people out. These guys stood there and they fought last night. I had Triple G winning the fight by 2 points. But I could see how somebody could have Canelo winning the fight by 2 points. So people that say it's a robbery are absolute idiots. And that Jason guy's an absolute idiot too, by the way. But,
a lot of people share that opinion.
Yeah. We try to defend him, but it's getting hotter and hotter, man.
Thing, is it?
we try to defend the guy, but it's getting hotter and hotter every week.
I'm a lot older than he is.
All right, and I still think the best part of the pay-per-view and the thing that made it worth $85 is when Jim Lampley, some reason, talked about Matthew Macklin and almost cried.
What was that about? I saw that. I was like, what in the world? Lampley cries at the drop of a hat.
Something about Matthew Macklin. He saw him after the first Canelo Triple G fight, and Matthew Macklin walked up to him with tears in his eyes and said, "Where was the guy that broke my rib?" And Jim Lampley almost cried about that. I think he might have been. I think so, like in the last 10 years, he started taking estrogen pills. So don't be surprised if he turns out like Caitlyn Jenner. Only all of a sudden, Jim Lampley is,
Yeah.
woman.
Gemma Lampley now.
My God.
And if he is, Max Kellerman will sleep with him. So,
God.
because Max was on his knees all night for Canelo. And I can tell you this. I think there's no doubt in December you see an HBO fight with Lemieux. And I think the way the Triple G goes is to fight Murata for the WBA strap in Japan in January.
Oh, I never even thought about that scenario. You're right. And I think he beats Murata.
Then that makes him relevant. And
he can make a lot of money over there. Wow, yeah.
Yes, he can make a lot of money, but it also makes him relevant against Canelo if Canelo wants every strap.
Uh-huh. Well, if Canelo wants every strat, he's also going to have to get a hold of Billy Joe.
Yeah, nobody cares about Billy Joe. This is a guy that beat a one-dimensional David Lemieux and barely beat Chris Eubank Jr.
I know. Yeah, I know.
We're reading way too much into Billy Joe Saunders. And the thing is this. I mean, Canelo can fight Billy Joe Saunders, and 300,000 or 400,000 people will buy that, and they'll make a little bit of money. But in the end, Golovkin's where he makes the money. And the thing is this. Most people on press row last night that I've talked to thought that Golovkin won the fight. They did think it was close. So what you've got is probably 70% of the people that saw both fights think Triple G won both fights.
Yep.
Now, I think this. I think De La Hoya has protected Canelo from Golovkin until they thought it was safe to fight Golovkin.
Yeah.
So I think what happens here is that he fights in December there. Maybe he fights Saunders in May. And then they fight Triple G a year later when he's a year older and less dangerous. And I think last night, the only way that Canelo could have won that fight, and I said it on our podcast, is to go right at Triple G because Triple G is getting older. And I also think this, when you compare Charlo has to have distance. The Canelo we saw last night, I think, would knock Charlo out.
That would not surprise me. Yeah, that would not surprise me at all.
Actually, I think the two guys we saw last night would probably beat anybody in the middleweight division.
I don't know about Golovkin, though.
With Golovkin getting older, I don't know what his,
Well, you know what? He's getting older, but you just said that the future is Canelo.
Yeah.
But most people think that fight was too close to call. So why is it really that hard to believe that 3 or 4 months from now, Golovkin can beat anybody, including Canelo? And I think Canelo showed he's a great fighter last night. I think Golovkin did the same because the problem with Golovkin is with the people he's had to fight, he had no choice. He fought everybody. He never ducked anybody. That's who he had to fight, kind of like the Larry Holmes thing. You can only fight who's there.
Right.
So I don't think he ever goes down as a top 10 middleweight no matter what he does. But I do believe this. I don't believe there's a middleweight in the world, including Marvin Hagler, that would have an easy night with him in his prime.
No way.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because he can fight. The problem is, I mean, does anybody here really think if they fight 3 years ago when he's in his prime or 4 years ago? Because I think he started showing signs in the Kell Brook fight. I think Canelo trying to stand in front of the Golovkin from 4 years ago would have been suicide. I mean, last night I think what you saw was a slower, older version of Golovkin who spent most of his time just trying to touch Canelo to score points. You didn't really see him sit down on a lot of punches. And Abel Sanchez screwed this up. And I've already told him that today, so he's not going to be on our boxing show this week.
Well, like I said earlier, Abel.
I did. I said because he hung up on me because I said, "Why didn't you tell him to go to the body?" And we had him on the show after the first fight. He said, "Well, that's what I'm going to tell you." And this is the thing. Last night, in between rounds, never once did he say go to the body.
Well, I've noticed with European fighters, especially with the two Klitschko's and now Golovkin, they don't go to the body.
Yeah, but with the Klitschko's, they didn't have to. They were just going to jab you until you left yourself open.
Yeah, but Golovkin used to go to the body. I mean, look at the body shot he knocked out Macklin with.
Canelo changed the way he fought. When I saw Canelo fight Mayweather, I saw a man that did not know how to change what he did. Last night, he showed us he could change what he did. With Golovkin, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, as they say, but damn, you could at least bring it up.
I agree.
Imagine.
You're already in harm's way when you're getting that close to him anyways. You might as well, because I think this, if he goes to the body, 4 or 5 body shots around, I think in the 9th round or the 10th round, whenever he hit him with that hellacious right hand, it would have been a knockout.
No, you're probably right about that.
Does this version of Canelo knock out Floyd Mayweather?
By one shot.
Does this version of Canelo knock out Floyd Mayweather?
Yes. Yes, for
What was
sure.
that?
Does this version of Canelo knock out Floyd Mayweather?
No, because I still don't think laterally he can handle a boxer. With Triple G, he has a guy that's standing in front of him. He can pressure him, and Triple G at this age doesn't give him any angles. I think Canelo's problem, and you saw when he fought Laura and Trout, when guys give him angles, he has problems because I think he's really fast on his feet, forwards and backwards, but I don't think side to side he's great that way. But I think from what we saw last night, he may be able to improve it. But then again, hell, he's almost 30 years old. But I think a prime Floyd Mayweather against this Canelo may lose because Canelo's a middleweight. But if you put this Canelo as a welterweight, I think Mayweather's movement still gives him problems because I still think the way to beat him is to smother him the way Marcos Maidana did, only do it with more talent. And I don't think Canelo Alvarez could fight like Maidana did. If he could, I think he'd beat him.
Yeah.
But and I think it would be a hell of a lot better fight than what we saw a few years ago. But Canelo just wasn't ready for that yet. But I still think guys that give lateral movement will give him problems. Where Charlo is going to try to keep distance with a jab, and he's going to try to crack him. He's not really going to dance around him a lot.
Yeah, his most dangerous opponent could be Danny Jacobs. I mean, it really could be. I think Danny Jacobs is
very
dangerous,
the best middleweight in the world because I thought Jacobs came closer to beating Triple G than Canelo did.
I think so too.
I had Jacobs winning that fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Jacobs winning.
I would have scored it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Jacobs winning that fight.
And I'll tell you the other thing I would like to see Triple G do. And if he wants to enhance his legacy, move to light heavyweight, see if he can get a fight with Adonis Stevenson.
I don't hate that. I tell you what, I don't hate that because I think he could beat Adonis Stevenson.
He's 42 years old, and I think you could hit Golovkin with probably a baseball bat all damn day and not knock him out.
You know what the odd thing about Triple G's last couple of fights is? When he fought Jacobs and he fought Canelo twice against top level prime opponents, these guys are landing more power punches against him, and he's basically reverting to a jab instead of throwing power punches.
Years old when he's fighting Canelo, he's 36, 37.
But even in the Jacobs fight, Jacobs seemed to be throwing more power punches against Triple G. Like I thought Triple G looked a little bit tentative against Jacobs in a lot of those rounds too.
I thought he looked tentative the first 3 rounds against freaking Kell Brook.
Wow.
I think he was just slowed down. That's what guys do.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right.
And he's prime against one of these guys. But remember this, Danny Jacobs is really good. Canelo Alvarez is a great fighter. And all 3 of those fights were toss-ups when Golovkin's in his mid-30s.
Yep.
So I got to wrap this up because we got a show in like 10 minutes. But I just wanted to call you guys. I hadn't talked to you in a while. But I thought it was a great fight. And, just look into Hopkins' record. He wasn't no middleweight champion until he beat Felix Trinidad. There's only 6 title defenses after that.
And next time you talk to Abel, have him call us. I want to ask him why you didn't tell Golovkin to throw body punches too. I want to see what he said.
I got to wait a week or 2, but if you guys send Eric and see if we can get him for you.
Okay. That would be great. Thanks.
Man, we appreciate it, man.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
You had a great show.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. And catch Mike
on
his podcast and his website, The Grueling Truth. And go to thegruelingtruth.com, man, because they've got everything over there. Follow them on Twitter. They're big supporters of this show, and they're big supporters of other shows, too, including Montero One Boxing, and they've got their own podcast, which is really, really good. So definitely go check them out. They're great people, man. Great organization over there.
No, Mike is a top-notch guy, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. All right, we are going to El Paso, Texas. I think this is D-Style.
Yes, it is. He's got a lot of.
That's D-Style.
What's happening, man?
I gotta say something. Did I, or did I not say that Gennady Golovkin wasn't going to do shit to the body? Did I say that?
I don't,
you did.
I don't believe you did.
Yes,
No,
you did.
I don't recall that.
I think I did. For whatever the reason is,
Yeah.
Gennady Golovkin just doesn't feel comfortable going to the body. I just want to know why you guys think that is. Why would he go to the body in the first fight? This fight, there was no body work whatsoever. The only body shots that Canelo took Saturday night was on women at the club. That's it. Okay, what happened to the body shots? What happened to what happened? What happened to Gennady Golovkin?
What happened to the power punches? What happened to the power punches? The guy was right in front of him, came right at him, and he was just throwing jabs mostly. What happened to the power punches? I just think that there's something about this guy's style. Obviously, you like you said last week, that just troubles him, where he doesn't feel confident fighting this guy, where he could just let go of shots like he did against other guys.
Yeah.
That's got to be something that Canelo's doing. Maybe he can't time. Maybe just Canelo throws good thing. He just can't get a read on Canelo's movement, and he can't time him.
And you know what? I agree overall with your guys' take that this fight, anyone who's objective will and honestly watches this fight, that there's just no way you could have anyone clearly winning, right? So what I'm about to say is in no way, shape, or form the way I score fights. I'm just gonna say the following to make a point, right? So I'm not a fan of the whole look at their faces. I'm not a fan of that, right? But let's look at their faces, okay? Anyone saying that Canelo did no damage, or because they're actually saying that his punches had no effect, and I gave it to Triple G because his punches had more of an effect. While it is true that Triple G had at least 3 moments in the fight where he caught Canelo's attention. I wouldn't say he wobbled him or anything like that, but it really caught his attention upstairs. There was also about 2 or 3 moments where Canelo caught Triple G's attention downstairs. In the 12th round, it comes to mind, when Triple G was throwing, he got caught to the body, and all of a sudden he wasn't throwing anything because he was trying to catch his breath, right? The body assault is definitely, right, hurting right now on Gennady Golovkin. I know if we go by the 10-point must system and you scored round by round, this is a very close fight. I will concede that. However, if we scored boxing based on damage made on the fight in total, there's no doubt in my mind, I don't care what anybody tells me, there's one man, right, that is hurting right now in that sofa. His body is aching, his ribs are hurting, and he's pissing blood, and his name's not Canelo, right? So I have to say that because while both battled it out, there's no doubt in my mind that older Gennady Golovkin took the most damage in this fight. He most definitely looked like it, in my opinion. And I think the way Canelo fought surprised a lot of people, right? I didn't see Canelo standing right in front of him for 12 rounds. Okay, I thought he would do it more this time, but I didn't think he would be doing that for 12 straight rounds, right? Gennady Golovkin and Abel Sanchez were the ones saying, hey, why don't you fight, quote-unquote, Mexican style? Why don't you come at me, bro? Okay, well, he came at you, bro. And what did you do? You started going on your back foot, okay? It wasn't Canelo moving backwards, okay? Now, I understand that this isn't sumo wrestling. That's not how you score boxing. I'm not talking in terms of the 10-point must system. That's not what I'm talking about. But in terms of pride, okay, in terms of, like, their pride as a fighter, like, is it just me or I just feel, especially the last few interviews I saw of Gennady Golovkin, that his pride was broken in this fight. Okay, I feel like he couldn't believe this guy kept coming and was outworking him to the body. And after he got called out for running the first fight, came forward this time and didn't back up. Okay, so in terms of pride, in terms of, doing, as far as doing what you said you were going to do, Canelo did that. Canelo said, when Canelo was saying, I'm not going to take a step back this fight, I thought he was full of shit. I got to be honest. Okay? But for him to do that and Gennady Golovkin to not react to that the way he said he would, right? I think even if the nod was, even if by the 10-point must system you give it to Triple G, you have to at least admit that what they challenged Canelo to do, they challenged him to stand in front and quote-unquote fight. Canelo did that, and Gennady Golovkin in that department didn't deliver. Okay, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's my honest.
I agree with you 110%. And I'm going to tell you this. I thought that Canelo would try to do what he did last night in the beginning, and I thought that he wouldn't be successful at it, and then he would revert back to the style he fought in the first fight. But I was totally wrong. Totally wrong. I was surprised at how Canelo fought last night, and I was extremely impressed with how Canelo fought last night.
Well, there you go. And that's my take. Canelo didn't fight the way I would prefer of him to fight. That wasn't my preference, but I understand why he did it. You know what I mean? And I think he put himself in a position where win, lose, or draw, people were going to have a lot of respect for him for fighting that way. And that's what he gained. I think he gained a lot of respect.
Look, his changing of fight plans actually won him that fight last night.
Yeah, and you know what? Let me give Gennady Golovkin some credit here. As I was watching that fight, at the end of round 8, I saw the corner. Okay, I saw him spitting in the bucket. I saw the way he was breathing. I swear to God, I thought that fight was going to end in a couple rounds. I thought he was finished. Okay, but somehow, some way he got his second wind. He had a tremendous round 9. And somehow, I don't know how Letterman gave him round 9. He gave round 9.
Two of the official judges did too.
It's weird.
It's crazy, yeah. Eric gave him the 9th too.
Yeah.
Eric gave Canelo the 9th too.
I guess I got to rewatch round 9. But
I'm going to rewatch round 9 next week, definitely, because a lot of people gave Canelo that round.
You got to give him round 8, right? If you gave Canelo round 9, you better have Canelo winning round 8. Is all I'll say.
Yeah. A lot of people were saying that anyone that gave Canelo the 12th round was crazy. I disagree. I gave Canelo the 12th round.
And by the way, just real quick, I like the way HBO does the corners. They're not showing us the fighters in the crowd, and they're actually having us listen to the corners. So we know what Abel Sanchez was telling Gennady Golovkin. We know what Canelo's corner was telling Canelo. I like that. Aside from that, HBO is complete trash, man. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
they're really bad.
And HBO, Letterman literally said, "Who do you have winning this fight?" I don't know, Jim. I have no idea. He said.
And he had it 116-112. And he had it 116-112 for Golovkin. What do you mean you don't know who won the fight? Right.
Yeah, well, he's saying he didn't know that he could have given this to anybody. And then Roy Jones is supposed to be the expert analyst. He's being indecisive about everything. Okay, and then you have Jim Lampley. I just can't stand Jim Lampley. I can't stand his emotional ass. Jim Lampley cried because George Foreman told him he was going to set up more with a right hand late in the fight, and he cried about that. This dude cries about everything. He doesn't take estrogen. Okay, he naturally produces estrogen. Okay, all right. So I can't stand Jim Lampley to save my life. I couldn't stand him shamelessly promoting his own show on the pay-per-view.
That's not horrible.
Show, I couldn't.
Show sucks too.
You know, I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but
terrible.
I just couldn't stand
That
him.
show sucks.
I just look at him. I just look at his glasses, and I just can't stand the guy. Max Kellerman is the only bright spot, in my opinion, of the entire telecast.
I don't like him either.
You need people with microphones. Okay, you just need two dudes, a play-by-play and a color commentator. That's all you honestly need, right? But I can't stand him. And Letterman. Okay, you have Gennady Golovkin winning. At least properly explain to us why you have him win, right? Which he doesn't do. He never does that.
I'm just giving him rounds because I don't know. Maybe I just feel like it. I'm giving him rounds, but I don't know why I'm giving him rounds. It's like, I mean, what the fuck does that mean?
Marquez was bleeding one time. I mean, I don't even know.
Remember that D-Style what he said? Remember what he said? He goes, "Well, I got to give Pacquiao that round due to facial damage."
Hey, your thoughts?
Hey,
D-Style.
Bleeding. He said you got to give defense to Pacquiao because Marquez is bleeding.
Hey, D-Style. Hey, what did you think of Max Kellerman's comment about Canelo winning the story of the fight, but may not be winning the fight?
Winning the what was that again?
Max Kellerman said that Canelo is winning the story of the fight, but he may not be winning the fight.
If I give him the benefit of the doubt, it might be what I was alluding to earlier, right? That he was challenged by Gennady Golovkin and Abel Sanchez to stand and fight, and that's what he did. And he was not backing down from that. I'm guessing that's what Max Kellerman meant. It's probably not the best thing to say in the middle of a fight. Okay? But you know, there's still sayings like, "Oh, so and so won the fight, but so and so won the night." You know, just what people say sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think it's all horseshit, to be honest with you.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, that's probably what he meant if I give him the benefit of the doubt. And I honestly wish that HBO got a better score. I wish they had better commentators overall. And
well, I think their boxing days are about done. You know?
Yeah, you know, maybe it's time. You know, maybe it's time for HBO to step out of the boxing game. You know, maybe they're just outdated. And maybe they have no new ideas for the sport. They're, you know, it's every time. And then, am I the only guy that's observed this? But HBO is the only telecast that people could watch, and then there's a close fight, and we see all this outrage on the internet about how big of a robbery it is, right? Because they're telling people something that's not really there, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah, they definitely feed into it. You know, they definitely feed into it.
Showtime is the best boxing platform.
That Showtime needs to stop showing Charlo and Spence. I don't want to see those guys in the middle of a fight. I want to hear the corners. You know what I mean? That's my pet peeve with Showtime. But I agree with you guys. I think it's boxing has surpassed HBO. HBO's outdated. They have no new ideas for the sport. They're no longer being innovative. They're being lazy. They were trying to talk about Lemieux being the front runner, basically, for the winner of Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo. I'm just thinking to myself, what type of a joke is this?
Well,
you know,
unfortunately, with the way it's set up, that's probably what it's going to be.
Well, I think that's trash. I remember back in the day, HBO, regardless of what networks fighters were on, that they always put, like, whenever there was a middleweight fight, they always gave you the 4 title holders, the top contenders. Remember that? They would lay it out.
Oh,
like
yeah, I remember those days. Oh, with HBO, man, those days are long gone. You know?
Yeah. You know, and then I'm expected to, like, I haven't watched the fight game since its first show, man. I really don't.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's really bad.
Show, all right? But that's all I got, guys. I know you guys you have other dudes here waiting on the line and stuff like that. So just wanted to call in. I said I'd call in.
Thanks for the call, brother.
All right, man. Awesome.
Good call, man. Good call. You called it. Called it down to a T. He called it down to a T.
It's completely wrong.
Oh,
wait a minute. Let me bring it back on. I didn't hear you.
Real quick. Believe it or not, okay, everybody's going to say, man, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like, I know people are going to think that, okay? I swear to God, I put up my post-fight Okay, I put up my post-fight on my YouTube channel before the fight. Okay?
Yeah, where can we see that at?
You guys should check
Where
it out.
can we see that at?
All right. I gave my post-fight thoughts.
No, I said where.
Happened.
No, what I'm saying is where can
Right.
we find that? Where can we find your channel?
Oh, okay. D-Style Boxing.
All right, D-Style Boxing on YouTube. Yeah, go check him out. He's always got good stuff on there, man. He's very knowledgeable, as you just heard. So go check out D-Style, okay?
Well,
And he was right on the money. I tell you what,
he's right on the money. He's right on the money.
He was right on the money.
And I told him I would tell him so when if he called in the following week and he was right, I told him I'd tell him he was right. He's right.
He's no Teddy Atlas, but he's good, to be honest.
Oh, God.
Look at you, all week. Been disrespected.
Your boy Teddy Atlas scored the fight.
All week.
He scored the fight 9-3 for Golovkin, and he called it a robbery.
Disrespected him all week.
Okay? Your boy Teddy Atlas was going off the rails last night with his histrionic personality disorder.
Talking about a living legend like that. What's the matter?
Oh, my God.
You think you are.
Oh, he's unbearable.
Thank you so much to Ohio Runs Boxing in the chat for the contribution. Also to Wood. You can find Wood on bitedownboxing.com. Wood called a little bit earlier, but Wood also texted me and said, hey, can you mention this? And I sure will, and pose it to the panel. When did Ali go to the body versus George, Frazier, Norton, or Shavers? Triple G
Never.
Is no Ali. Triple G is no Ali, but I think this body work thing is being inflated. I think he might have a point.
Yeah.
Well, he might be right about that.
All right. There you go. Wood, we all agree. You have a point. You might be right. All right. 3-1-2.
The fight doctor in the house.
The fight doctor.
Oh, no. Let us have it, fight doctor. Let us have it.
Fight doctor in the house.
On Rick James status, baby.
As
Ricky
Fight
James.
doctor. Fight doctor.
Beeb.
Are you a Triple G fan after last night?
Well, last night proved all of Fight Doctor's points. So he has a right to gloat.
It proved his
Oh,
point.
my God.
Proved his point. Proved that he's a bum?
Empty out the clip, fight doctor. Go ahead, brother.
So
Empty it out.
here's my deal, okay?
Yep.
Here's my deal. I've never not been a Triple G fan.
You've never been
All
a
right.
Triple G fan.
And I'm not a fan of all of the undeserved hype that Triple G has got over the years.
Okay.
Okay? So here's what happened last night. First, before we even get to what happened last night, well, I have a question. So what happened to Mexican style?
Oh, my God.
Canelo had it last night. That's how you do Mexican style. Who does it better than the Mexicans?
Okay. That's how you do Mexican style.
That's
okay.
it.
So my question is, what happened to Mexican style? You've been talking this Mexican style business for some years now, okay? And then when somebody finally challenges you to a duel, when the gauntlet is dropped, and someone challenges you to a duel and says, okay, let's see who's going to do this Mexican style thing, and you essentially leave the arena. Okay, because that's what happened last night.
What do you mean?
Triple G was an absentee landlord. Okay, truth be told, because the guy who was coming forward was the guy who you said ran the last fight. Listen, if they were to hold an election tomorrow in Mexico for president, you know who would win?
Canelo Alvarez.
El Chapo.
Canelo Alvarez. Listen, I think right now Alvarez has a solid case for being pound for pound number one.
Yeah. I would
Someone
say
else said that too. Yes, someone else said that.
I don't hate on that.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably going to be pound for pound number one in the rings rankings because they had Canelo pound for pound number one in their rankings. So he may very well just be that.
I think after what we saw last night, and Canelo essentially undressing big bad boogeyman,
This is awesome.
middleweight division, the debate is over. Okay? Terrence Crawford, I love you. However, what Canelo did last night was a thing of beauty.
Wow. So
That's what you call Mexican style. Okay?
So you're
Take
pound
no
for pound
prisoners.
now. Is
Don't
your new
take a
pound for
backward
pound.
step. Come forward, walk through fire, okay? And gut it out, and that's what he did. I'm sorry, I cut you off. What was your question?
No. So your new pound for pound is Canelo Alvarez.
Alvarez is listen. I'll be more than happy to debate anyone, on who deserves pound for pound number one. And I'm telling you, if the person is reasonable and logical, then they will just have to accept the reality that, as of right now, Alvarez has the best resume in boxing, period.
No question.
Okay? And there's a bit of daylight between him and number two.
Wow.
Okay?
So he took Terrence Crawford out of the pound for pound.
That's my personal feeling.
Love it.
Listen,
I agree. You swayed me. You swayed me.
Yeah.
You swayed me.
You can't mess with that. He's right.
However, listen, at the end of the day, the manner in which Alvarez was able to thoroughly undress the big bad boogeyman, okay? Now look, it was Abel Sanchez who called them out, who called Alvarez out. Come fight us in the middle of the ring. Okay, I'll fight you in the middle of the ring. And what did they do? All of a sudden, you see the big bad boogeyman, the so-called knockout artist, okay, the so-called knockout artist, all of a sudden turn tail and run because there were spots when he was running. Okay.
Well, like I said earlier in the show, Fight Doctor, Abel Sanchez, be careful what you ask for because you got it last night, and your person couldn't do anything about it.
So did you think Canelo ran in the first fight?
I'm sorry, what was the question, Eric?
Did you think Canelo ran in the first fight? Because I thought he boxed.
Yeah, I mean, in the later rounds, yeah. I mean, listen, for the most part, he was boxing, but there were one or two rounds in the first fight where you could say he was running. Okay, he was gassed or whatever it was, but yes. Now, overall, he was boxing. He wasn't running in the first fight. He was boxing. But in all honesty, if you're going to be honest and intellectually honest, then and call it down the middle, then yes, there were spots in the first fight where Alvarez was running. I will freely admit that. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
But you didn't see that last night. If anyone was running last night, it was Golovkin when Alvarez was putting those body shots on him. Okay, because he clearly did not like those body shots. And listen, Beeb, I love you. I really do. However, I must say that anyone who scored this fight for Golovkin doesn't know shit about boxing.
How did you score? How did you score it? What score did you have?
Me personally?
Yes.
I scored it 8-4-7-5. Okay.
Okay, so which one was it? 8-4 or 7-5?
I would really need to go back and rewatch it because I didn't actually write down all the rounds that I scored for whom. However, I may have given Golovkin maybe 4 of the middle rounds and maybe 3 of the middle rounds, and I thought he won the 11th round.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't give him the 10th?
Right. I didn't see Golovkin.
You didn't give Golovkin the 10th round?
I don't recall. I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, if you do it round by round, your fight's going to be closer than you think, brother.
I did him 10, 11, and 12. I had Golovkin winning 10, 11, and 12 to pull out the draw.
Golovkin won 10, 11, and 12. I didn't give him 12. I gave him 10 and 11.
Okay.
I gave him 9, 10, and 11.
I saw Golovkin trying to do the Sugar Ray Leonard, trying to come on the last 30 seconds of a round. Listen, the last 30 seconds of a round does not negate the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It just doesn't. Okay? And I saw a lot of Golovkin throwing combinations, punches and bunches in short parts of a round, whereas the other 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it was all Alvarez, beating him to his body, okay, catching him with counter shots, okay? I mean, listen, it was crazy. I mean, it was almost as if an alternate reality had set in the moment the bell rang because you saw Golovkin in the instances where he was coming forward, eating hard counter shots, and then in those instances where he was retreating, he was being beat to the punch. And that was essentially the story of the fight. Okay?
But do you think it was a close fight, though? Would you be willing to admit that it was a close fight?
Like I said, 8-4, 7-5. So If I give it 7-5, then yes, that's a close fight.
Okay, so it's not
Now,
out of the realm of possibility that somebody could have the fight for Golovkin.
No, that is out of the realm of possibility because I don't see Golovkin having won more than 5 rounds. And giving him 5 rounds, in my opinion, is a stretch. 5 rounds at most, okay? This was a clear, close but clear victory for Alvarez, period. I just don't see Golovkin winning 7 rounds. I didn't see that fight. I didn't see the draw, okay? 115, 113, okay. Realistically, I think 116, 112. I don't know what fight was Harold Letterman watching. Okay, I just didn't see 116, 112 for Golovkin. I'm sorry, but that defies reason and logic.
I don't normally agree with Harold Letterman's scorecards anyway.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they really need to put that old man out the pasture because he clearly cannot judge a fight. 116, 112 for Golovkin, in my opinion, flies in the face of reason. And suggest that scorecard was politically motivated, okay? Because I just don't.
I think that entire network is going to be put out to pasture, Fight Doctor. I don't think we're going to have to worry about HBO much longer.
Oh, how dare you?
Yeah, well, that's probably a good thing for boxing, okay? Definitely. You know, I mean, we've seen Kovalov defect. I suspect that Golovkin and Alvarez might be next, okay? But
I know Golovkin's contract with HBO is up, so he can go elsewhere if he wants to continue fighting, which I don't know at this point.
Well, I think at this point he needs to consider retirement because look, Alvarez exposed Golovkin. He did. He exposed him. Now we didn't learn anything new because we already knew that Golovkin could not fight back enough. That wasn't a question. We already knew that. But what we know now, without question, is that he doesn't like it to the body. If you beat him if you stand your ground and you beat him on his body, okay, you can beat him, which is what Alvarez did. Listen, if Alvarez had real middleweight power, he would have knocked Golovkin out last night. If he had real middleweight power, someone like a Jamal Charlo, okay.
Well, now
if he had Jamal Charlo power,
didn't he have 20 straight knockouts?
Doctor,
Robert,
he's going to be able to fight people like Charlo, and he's going to be able to fight people like Jacobs.
Robert, hey, didn't he have 20 straight knockouts?
Yeah. He had 23 straight knockouts. Golovkin did, yeah.
Yeah. Are you saying Canelo doesn't have power? Or
okay, but listen. No, what I'm saying is
I don't. Canelo, Eric.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about Alvarez. If Alvarez had real, true middleweight power,
dude,
I mean,
Triple G's never been. True, that's unfair, though.
Power.
That's very unfair thing to say.
I mean, if he.
I'm sorry. I said that's an unfair thing to say, man, because he is a middleweight and he does have middleweight power. Triple G's never been put on the canvas. He's never been knocked down. He's never been knocked out. I mean, he's never even.
Neither has Alvarez.
Yeah, but the point is, what we're trying to talk about is power. Yeah, you saying that Alvarez doesn't have any power, and that's not a fair thing.
What I'm saying is Alvarez is not a big puncher for 160. He's just not.
He looked like he threw some big shots last night, man. I don't know about you, but
listen, he's a good puncher, but he doesn't have he doesn't have Gerald McClellan 160 power. Okay, he just doesn't. Joe McClellan at 160 was a beast.
Yeah, okay? Not many people do.
Guys like Edison Miranda at 160 was a beast. Could knock you silly with one punch. So Alvarez is not in that class of puncher at middleweight. And if he were, he would have knocked Golovkin out last night. Okay, he would have because he was landing some super clean right hands. Okay, and plus that beautiful body work. Listen, guys.
Yeah.
For anyone who scored this fight for Golovkin, I just have one thing to say to you. Body punches count. Okay? Body punches count. All right? And boxing is scored on 4 criteria. Okay? Clean punching. Effective aggression. Okay? Ring generalship and defense. So now my question to you, when we look at those 4 criteria, you check next to Alvarez's name. For each of one of those, okay? Who was the clean puncher? Who was landing the clean punches? Okay,
I was landing a fair amount of jabs.
I saw Golovkin jabbing, throwing some desperate jabs off his back foot. Sure, okay, yeah. All right. But Golovkin is not Larry Holmes, so let's not get it confused. He's just not. Okay? And Golovkin winning the fight with his jab, that's just not what he does. Okay? He's the guy he's supposed to be the big bad boogeyman, Mexican style. Okay?
Right.
Who comes to knock you out. So Golovkin is a destroyer. Where was he last night? Because we haven't seen him in a few fights. Okay? My question to you is it a coincidence that in the 3 fights against the 2 best guys he's ever fought in his career, is it a coincidence that his record is 1-1-1? With that one win being a controversial win?
No, it's not.
Okay. Is that a coincidence?
No.
I mean, look,
He's 2-1-1.
Why is that?
He knocked out Marta Rosen, right?
Yeah, well, no, he's talking about
he's
Jacobs and the 2 Canelo fights.
I gotcha.
In
Okay.
in his 3 fights against the 2 best guys on his resume.
Okay.
Okay, against the 2 A-list fighters.
Right.
The only 2 A-list fighters that he's fought, his record is 1-1-1, with the lone win being controversial.
Okay.
Okay. So listen, guys, I'm just asking a question. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you've been hollering Mexican style all this time, and then when somebody finally stands their ground and stands right in front of you and dares you to throw your money punch, what do? Where was the Golovkin right hand last night? Because it seemed to me like he left it at the hotel room. Because he damn sure wasn't throwing it. Right? He just wasn't. Okay?
That's funny.
Golovkin did not want to get hit, which is the reason why he wasn't throwing the right hand, which is the reason why he wasn't going to the body. Okay? So who was this guy last night that we saw? So listen, guys, I could talk about this for about the next 2 hours, and I know the guys behind me. But finally, the Golovkin myth has been undressed. Okay? Finally. Okay?
All right.
And now he can go back to obscurity where he belongs with his trumped up resume and his quote unquote 20 title defenses. Okay? This guy's supposed to be so good that the pound for pound, #1 in the world, never managed to win the lineal championship. And when he gets his opportunity to do just that against a 154-pound guy, what happens? He gets undressed by a 154-pounder who stood right in front of him all night.
He was
dared him to throw his money punch, and he didn't do it.
So 7 rounds to 5, even fight. That's undressing.
No, wait. Undressing is when listen. Undressing is when you tell a guy to stand in front of you. When you tell a guy coming up from 154, you tell a guy coming up from 154 to stand right in front of you, and then he does that, and what do? You get on your bicycle. You've been screaming and crying about Mexican style.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. What have they been doing since last September? Okay? Sanchez has been complaining about, he moved too much and he didn't want to stand in front of us and he didn't want to fight and he didn't want to fight like a Mexican and he wants to do the Floyd Mayweather and this and the other. That's all they've been screaming about. Okay, then they start screaming about the gloves and the tape and just making all kinds of excuses and just crying and screaming, finding something to complain about. Is it possible?
When all of that has been taken away, now you have no excuses. The man stood in front of you all night.
I agree. He stood in front of him, and the result was the result. And I tell you what, I mean, like I said, I had it a draw, but it could went either way. But let me ask you guys this: would this, everybody's making a big deal about, and I don't think Golovkin ran. I thought he boxed. I don't think, and just like in the first fight, I don't think Canelo ran. I thought he boxed. There's a big difference. But what about? Could this have been Golovkin's style coming into the fight? Was he taken out of the style, or was this just the style? Maybe this is how they planned to fight the fight.
Eric, when have we seen Golovkin ever fight like this?
I can't remember when. Well,
I can't remember it either, but I mean, could this have been the style? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not.
He fought like this a little bit against David Lemieux, but not the whole fight.
We saw this against David Lemieux, and we actually saw it in the first Canelo fight because he was more measured.
Okay,
he was more boxing than in the Kell Brook fight.
So I have a question. If it were their plan to box, then what is all this Mexican style talk about? What is all of this he moved too much in the last fight talk about? What does this come fight us talk about? If you want to fight, then why is the plan to box? If you want to fight.
Look at Floyd Mayweather. I mean, look at Floyd Mayweather. How many times did he say, I'm going to stand toe-to-toe with this guy? And he never had any intentions on it. You know what I mean? It's just talk. It's just rhetoric.
Okay, but here's it. I'm agreeing with you. However, practically speaking, Floyd is a boxer.
Sure.
Floyd has never been a toe-to-toe guy. Floyd has never been the kind of guy who would come forward. I mean, he can do that, and he has that ability if need be. However, Floyd has always been a safety first fighter.
Right.
And even when he's coming forward, he's still coming forward safety first. Okay? That has never been Golovkin that I recall. Okay?
Ever since that Jacobs fight, he's fought a lot more tentative. Like, he fought very tentative in the Jacobs fight.
I agree.
And he fought tentative in both Canelo Alvarez fights. And I think when he feels as though there's a real challenge and threat in front of him, psychologically his whole game plan changes. He's not that seek and destroy guy when he's fighting guys like Danny Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez. He just isn't.
I would agree. All right, Fight Doctor, we got to get going.
Not only did we see,
we got to get moving because we got a bunch of calls. Yes, go ahead.
Just real quick. Not only did we see Golovkin get beat last night, we saw him get beat up. And I'll leave you guys with that.
All right, that sounds good.
D-Style said the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he look like he was beat up?
For people like Fight Doctor who never liked Triple G to begin with, last night was their coming out party. They were able.
Oh my God, that's true, Robbie. That's funny, but it's true.
And say, and be able to say all this stuff today, and those of us that have supported him, we have nothing to argue back with.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, I disagree with that because the fight could have went either way. And what are you arguing for anyway? It's like I mean, the fight was the fight.
Remember, Eric, guys like Fight Doctor have never liked Triple G to begin with. So whatever argument you make, you're not going to win an argument with somebody like that.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't have won it 2 weeks ago. You wouldn't have won it now.
Right.
It was the same argument. You know what I mean? He called him. I mean,
right.
he was saying he's a bum prior to, and he's going to say a bum afterwards. So it's the same argument.
Oh, me and Beeb have been on shows for years, and he's called up every single time, and has never really had anything decent to say about Triple G. So last night was the perfect scenario for a guy like him.
Yeah, he brought up some good points today about the fight. He brought up some real good points about the fight. All right, 760. We are going to come to you next. Right after this call, we're going to go to one call first, and we're coming to you, so stay on the line. We got you. Notorious VC in the chat. Thank you so much for the contribution, man. We appreciate it. And Beeb, where did the best calls come from?
Ohio, baby.
All right, 614, you're live.
What's up, guys?
What's up? Ohio boxing.
Hey, man, you already know. First of all, before I even get started, great fight. Triple G, I got to give him his respect. He's a great fighter, man. People can say what they want. I'm going to definitely give him his praise. He's a great fighter. I scored it 7-5. I scored it, and it was kind of funny because I was at a house party, and, a bunch of casual fans. There wasn't no hardcores. And as the scores was going on, and they looking at me, and they think, because I was rooting for Canelo, so it just looked like I was just biased. But I was just scoring the fight, and I was telling these guys, I got it. I had it after 6 rounds. It was 4-2 Canelo. It could have been 3-1 or 2-2, but it was I had a 4-2 after 6, and it was like, but Harold Letterman gave it. They was talking about HBO scorecard. Harold Letterman was going crazy, and I'm telling these guys, there's a lot of them listening. And I said, guys, you cannot listen to this guy. Trust me, okay? Just trust me on this. They, most of them, they watch boxing here and there. So they're like, no, we're gonna go with the guy on TV. Triple G is winning, So it was hilarious. So
I know. I learned a long time ago. Never agree with Harold Letterman's scorecard.
And
most of the time it's wrong.
I like Harold Letterman. Growing up, and he was the guy that let you know who was winning when you really didn't have boxing knowledge as much growing up. So I think it's time for him to retire. It's clearly he's picking these rounds on his biasness instead of like really breaking down the criteria, you know, of the boxing criteria, how you judge the fight. So it's crazy that he does. I had a little meme making fun of him at his scorecard, but I think Canelo shocked a lot of people, and to me that was the blueprint. That was Triple G's blueprint the whole time. A lot of us knew what the blueprint was to beating Triple G. We saw it before. It just the people just couldn't absorb his power. You seen Willie Monroe do it for a couple rounds where he just stood in the pocket and he goes and he hits Triple G, and then after the fight, people say the fans was in denial. Say, oh, Triple G just wanted to show. No, he didn't.
Nobody
These
wants
guys,
to get
when
hit.
they stand up and fight him in the pocket, this is what you're going to get. Kell Brook did it. Then you had who else was it? You had I think it's somebody else. But you have these guys that stand in the pocket and they fight him. And then when he talks Mexican style, he said he wants the Mexican style. Okay, this is what you promote. He goes to David Lemieux, he gives him a jab fest. See what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with it. I like the boxer. I like how he was able to adjust. So I take nothing away from him. But don't promote something, and then when it's time, the big stage comes, you change it up. You see what I'm saying? I like the style of you able to make adjustments, you able to box. I didn't have a problem with Triple G fighting, backing up, or using his jab. But don't sit here and tell people you want Mexican style. Then Canelo say, okay, here I am, and you backing up, and you bringing a jab festival when you was inviting us to Mexican style. And I was like, you know, the Mexicans came to fight. And it was just like, it was beautiful to see him standing in that pocket. And I said, that was the blueprint. I believe he not only beat Triple G, in my opinion, but he beat him mentally. He beat this guy mentally as well in that ring. I was loving it. I just love to see when you stand up to the boogeyman. When Andre Ward stood up there and fought Kovalev, Buster Douglas, get back up, stand there and fight Mike Tyson. You can beat the boogeyman. Don't get too hype. Don't fall into the hype all the time. And sometimes these fighters do. You can't fall into the hype. Triple G is a good fighter. You can't take it away from him. I think he was breathing hard. Let's not get. I was telling people that I said, "Ooh, he is breathing hard." He was working hard for his round. That's one thing. Canelo made sure if you're gonna win some rounds, you're going to work hard for him. And boy, did he work hard to win some of those rounds. I think Triple G came on strong towards the later end of that fight, and I was giving him rounds. The 12th round was up for a little bit of grabs, but I gave that to Canelo. I'm at work, so I wish I had my scorecard, but I know I gave Canelo about 3 or 4 rounds straight, I believe. So I know Canelo was coming on and just ripping to the body. There would be times Triple G hit him with a right and hit him with a good shot, and Canelo would exchange and go right back and forth with him after he hit him. So it was a close fight. It wasn't, but I still cannot edge Triple G of seeing Triple G winning that fight. It can be a draw. I can see some people saying it's a draw because I scored 7-5. It could have been 8-4, a swing round, but it was that close. So when people call in and saying you don't know boxing because you're scoring it's a close fight, that's dramatic to me. That's a little dramatic. Both of their styles is just tailor-made for each other almost. It's like no one really dominated. That's just my opinion. No one really just dominated. But Canelo, 154, stands in the pocket, the smaller guy. He's fighting the guy who's naturally the bigger man in this weight class, and this is what you come up with. It was great to see that. I think that's the middleweight division is gonna get better. I can't wait to see what Jamal Charlo, he's getting the mix with Canelo, and a lot of people better not sleep on Canelo with Charlo. Don't sleep on this guy, man. This guy can fight. This guy can box his fucking ass off. Don't sleep on this guy. He is the middleweight champion.
I agree. He's the middleweight king, man. No question about it. No, we can't question that anymore.
Now they saying pound for pound king. I don't know pound for pound. He up there, but I'm like, dang.
I don't know, man. That's a hard. I tell you what, he's right there. If he's not,
debatable.
I mean, yeah, it may be debatable, but
this is the double standard, Eric. This is the double standard. Fight doctor said, he don't give Triple G too much praise, you know, he was pretty much a fraud, then why would you give Canelo that credit? Why is he pound for pound king to beat somebody who you thought was a fraud?
It's called a double standard, my man.
Yeah, it's called, you got to be consistent. I tell people that all the time, even when Mikey Garcia beat Robert Easter. You know, I'm Ohio. Don't sit there and try to make Robert Easter a name on his resume if you called him a bum.
Right.
Don't sit there and say, oh, yeah, Mikey beat Robert Easter. He was a champion. No. If you think he's a bum, that name shouldn't even be coming out your mouth. Be consistent. I think Triple G is a great fighter. That's why, you know, I can see it. I won't take nothing away from him, but yes, when he stepped up in competition, you know, he had some exposure, but I just felt it's more of guys that can take on his power, stand in that pocket. Danny Jacobs did the same thing. He went down, you know, in that fight, but he came back stronger and he stood there. When you can stand there and take on a power puncher, a guy who's known for his power as the boogeyman, the fight is going to change. And that's what I think with that. What's his name? Jamie
Munguia.
Yeah, Munguia.
Jaime Munguia.
Yeah, Jaime Munguia. He God, they said he came in after the 174. Is that true? Was he 170? They said he was 174.
He was 175.5.
Yeah, well, Lemieux came in at 179. He gained 19 pounds.
Yeah, I know.
That was crazy.
Golly.
Right?
I mean, he pulling the Jared Hurd. I mean, if you can make the weight, go ahead and you can make the weight. Golly.
Yeah.
He looks good. You know, he looked good. I'm like, golly, you can make that weight. I can't. They call them weight bullies. I'm hearing that a lot. But if you can make the weight, hey, it is what it is. That's what I say. And another thing before I get off, because I don't want to be long. Mm-hmm. Respect Canelo's chin.
Took some big shots.
I got heard so many people talking about Canelo. If he stands in there with Triple G, he's gonna get knocked out. And then I said, man, Canelo has a chin.
Well, neither one of these guys have ever been put on the canvas.
And I'm glad you point that out, Rob. I'm so glad you point that out because Triple G does too. That's why I don't see anybody. I don't care. I just don't see nobody stopping him. I don't care if he fought Jermell Charlo. His will, he got the Marvin Hagler type will. You just, you cannot stop him. When I seen Curtis Stevenson crack him, and Curtis Stevenson can crack, I said no one in the middle division is knocking Triple G out. I said that, and I've been consistent with that. There's a lot of guys who got iron chins that I just don't see nobody cracking it. Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. These guys are hard to bring down no matter what you hit them with. The kitchen sink. They're coming. So I don't predict KOs when it comes to fighting these guys.
Well, I hate to rain on your parade. I hate to rain on your parade, but don't forget Adrian Broner did put Sean Porter on the canvas in the 12th round.
No, I give you that. But that's also a knockdown that you can actually break down because I say Robert Easter has a chin, and then you say, well, Mikey Garcia dropped him, but Mikey Garcia hit him. It wasn't really a power shot from just hitting him, and he fell. It was footy. And then Robert Easter had another one where his glove damn near touched the mat, and they still consider that a knockdown. I think Robert Easter has a iron chin. I don't consider those knockdowns, even though it happened, but he's not getting knocked out completely. And then Sean Porter, that's also another one. Adrian Broner hit him at the beginning of the ring with the hand. It was like a footing flash type knockdown. When he got back up, he was the aggressor. It wasn't, and Broner couldn't land that shot all night. So yes, he did hit him, but it was more not a shot where he punched him and it was a power shot. He just, he was hurt from it. That's the reason why I actually betted on the Keith Thurman fight because people was using, if Broner knocked him down, what you think Keith Thurman's going to do? I said, well, let's just put your money where your mouth is. I won $300 off that fight. So just to bet, I bet it on the knockout. I didn't bet on who would win. I just bet it on the knockout. I'm safe on that. When I don't have too much confidence, I'm not going to bet I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I want to be smart about it.
All right.
There you go.
That was my call, man. I don't want to
Good call, man. Good call as always.
Love the show, man.
Oh, thank you.
I was meant to ask because I just called. I just got on the show like probably about 30 minutes. Beeb, who did you have winning? I didn't hear you. I know Eric said he had a draw. I didn't hear who y'all had.
I had it for Golovkin, 116 and 112.
116, 112?
Yeah, I did.
I had Canelo 116, 112.
Yeah.
116. Wow. Okay.
Hey, and
All
just
right, guys,
just on a side note before you get out of here, just on a
Well,
side.
how'd you have it? How'd you have it, brother?
Oh, I had it 115, 113.
For who? Canelo?
Oh, no, yeah, Canelo. I had 115,
Oh, okay.
Canelo.
Hey, just before you,
Yep,
before you get out of here, Tom Brady is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I agree, man.
That's it. He's
right,
better quarterback, man.
The last score I saw, the Patriots were losing. Did they come back and win?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's a better overall quarterback than Aaron Rodgers, son. Come on. All right, man. We will talk to you next week.
That's why they call Tom Brady the GOAT.
That's
the greatest of all time.
There you go. All right. Ohio Runs Boxing. Catch him on Facebook. Go to Facebook and you can catch him there. He's got all the updates on all fighters, not just fighters from Ohio, but all fighters. So there you go. We are running short on time, so I would just ask you guys, just keep it concise, keep to your points. And 760, you're live.
Hello, Brian.
Hey,
what's up?
What it do, fellas? What it do?
What is it, Brian?
What's up?
All right. Man, it's like Ohio Runs Boxing pretty much took everything I was going to say.
All right. You can reiterate it if you want.
Absolutely.
You were on hold for a while. You might as well get your say.
Talk about anything.
I know why you called today, because next week is Joshua Povetkin.
Yep.
So I know that's why you called.
Uh-oh.
Hey, and Rob, look, next time Eric get on there and say the #1 callers come from Ohio, you got to just step in, man, and be like, nah, they coming from California. They coming from California.
That's right.
You feel me? Hey, look, man, see, this is what I like, because it was a good fight. These are good fighters that decided to fight. Oh, man, good looking out. Good looking out. This is what we need. You see, everybody got something to talk about. It was a good fight, but the thing with me is when I was watching the fight, I just seen a good fighter and I seen a great fighter, because I think Canelo did some great things in there against Triple G. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing he was doing that was the difference, because I wasn't influenced by no outside forces. I watched the fight on my phone, for free. Don't tell nobody, though.
We're not going to tell anybody else, man. Don't worry about it.
Don't even tell nobody. Hey, don't go back telling. You can't hear nothing. You feel me? I can't hear a sound. So all I'm doing is just looking at all these technical things that Canelo's doing. Okay, because if you box before, you know that the combination, the basic combination is a 1, 2, 3, which is a jab, a straight, and then a hook. Okay. Now, all I really seen Triple G scoring off of was just a 1, a 1, a 1, a 1, a 1, a 1, a 1. He had a lot of ones going on in his round, okay? But as far as Canelo, he was mixing in everything. He might throw the 2 with the 3 and then mix it in with a body shot. I mean, he was doing everything, And the key to it is that he was bending his knees, using his legs, using his head, all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he was able to stand in that pocket like that. Because Triple G, watch it, man. When you get done, look at the fight. Look at Triple G. He's not bending his knees. He don't know how to get up in that pocket in there. And that's what fighters need to start learning, how to bend them knees up in that pocket, because that's the key. That was the key to that fight last week with Sean Porter, But bending the knees, man, Canelo bending those knees, getting in there with the body shots, getting some, just following up with combinations. And in the meantime, Triple G just scoring off of the 1. Pretty much to me, I think Canelo won 8 rounds. You know what I'm saying? And 2 of the rounds to me could have been a draw. And to me, Triple G only won 2 rounds.
Wow.
That was towards the end where he and I think even when he won, I think Canelo just got too anxious. He got anxious in them rounds, and that might have got him in trouble. He wasn't as patient, because he was a little bit more patient than Triple G was too. But Yeah, all in all, man, it was a great fight. Two good fighters getting together, making something great happening, and that's what they did out of that. I might have to say Canelo might be the number 1 pound for pound. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? What you guys think?
Well, they talked about a couple calls, man. I'll tell you what, he's definitely in the conversation.
Argument can be made. There's no question.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
who's got a better resume?
Right now.
I don't have a problem with it.
Today,
Yeah, I wouldn't argue it.
September. What's the date today? Today.
16th.
Canelo.
September 16th.
Okay. Canelo, I think, might be the number 1 pound for pound in boxing. That's how I feel, because Triple G was a good fighter. People could say that he's trash and all this and woo-woo, but see, the thing about Triple G, he was a really good offensive fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's a good offensive fighter, and to me, like Ohio Runs Boxer said, when he fought with Willie Monroe, that's the first time I've seen him in his weakness. I'm like, oh, he got a weakness. But Willie Monroe didn't have the punch. You know what I'm saying? And then he fought against Kell Brook. Kell Brook didn't have a punch. But you can see, because this is the same guy. This isn't a guy that got older. No, this is the same exact guy. You seen his last fight, what he did to old boy. It's the same dude, okay? The difference is that when you got somebody that can use them legs, you know what I'm saying, and get up in there with a punch and slip them punches, that was the key, is slipping, and get in there and it backed him up, and Triple G wasn't going backwards. It's not like he was going back, going against the ropes. No, this guy was going back, trying to reset, getting back in there, and just couldn't really get a good, clear punch because of the movement. The movement was the key. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like angles, none of that. He was in the pocket using his legs, using his upper body movement, and Triple G didn't do that. That was the key. That was the key right there. But, hey, man, see, this is something we can celebrate when it's a good fight. You guys feel me?
I agree. It was a great fight.
No, it definitely was a good fight.
It was a good fight, all in all. It's definitely a good fight. But, yeah, we got Joshua and Povetkin coming up next week. You guys mind if I talk about that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I like talking. Who you got your money on, Joshua?
Joshua
AJ.
by massacre.
Winning, I hope so. Winning by at least the second round. If it takes longer than that.
I don't know if it's going to be that quick, but
yeah, I don't know about that. But it's going to be a one-sided beatdown.
Povetkin is more trouble than what you think. I think it's going to take a while.
He's getting murked.
You think so?
I think it's going to take at least 8 or 9 rounds. Yeah, to be honest.
I really don't see it.
Because Carlos Takam went 10 rounds, and that fight shouldn't even have probably been stopped either.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if Povetkin gives him a run for his money. I'm being honest.
That's right. Yeah.
He could probably lose the fight, but don't be surprised if you don't give him a run for his money.
Yeah, I don't see it happening though. Anthony Joshua was still to me a good fighter. I don't see
of course.
He could run right through this dude.
I agree.
Matter of fact, he need to make a statement, off of this fight right here. It shouldn't get too ugly.
Well, if he gets rid of him early, that will definitely make a statement. But I don't see it happening that way.
Yeah, I hope he do. In the meantime, I know you guys heard about Mayweather and Pacquiao. They talking about doing the remix.
Yeah,
we heard about that.
Man, what you guys think about that?
We'll talk about that later on. Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of our topics for the news.
I'm a little bit disappointed from that news because I'm waiting on this Wilder and this Tyson Fury thing. Matter of fact, what's going on with this, man? Is it anything that's like?
I haven't heard anything. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. They keep saying the fight is still on. I guess they're working it out, but yeah, I haven't heard anything on that.
Yeah, this is getting bizarre right now because it's.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like, don't be teasing me like this.
Yeah, man. If it does.
And every time Showtime's had a card, they've constantly promoted The fight will be on pay-per-view. They've constantly reminded people of that.
Yeah, and if this fight doesn't end up happening, it's going to be a bad look for both guys. I'm going to be honest. After all the talk.
Well, they already announced it, though. I mean, didn't they announce it on Showtime or whatever?
They announced it, but they don't have a date. Like they verbally, there's no contracts, there's no date. They just verbally agreed to it. So I don't know. I'm sure it'll happen, but I'm getting a little nervous, to be honest with you. You know how I am with my anxiety.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's like, what's going on? But
yeah, you know I got anxiety issues.
Real, but I know one thing. If the Mayweather and Pacquiao is going to happen in December, I don't even think they should do it. Don't even do it. Don't even try to go head up with that fight because that's going to suck up all.
Also, we're all trashing Mayweather Pacquiao too if it happens, but how many of us would buy it? Yeah, we're all going to buy it.
Man.
I did it once. I ain't doing it twice.
We ain't gonna fall for that, okay? But it's gonna be people that's gonna buy it. You already
does it at least? But let me ask you this: does it at least do 2 million pay-per-view buys?
No.
Oh, it probably will, but I won't.
No.
What does it do, Eric? Like 1.5?
Maybe. No,
Maybe
I don't.
I
think that after that last fight, no way.
Think about it though: 4.6. You don't think it at least does?
That fight single-handedly tanked the pay-per-view market. No, I don't think it does anymore.
Wow.
Single-handedly.
I think worst case scenario that does at least 1.5 million pay-per-view buys.
Well, okay, Beeb, you're good at this. How many pay-per-views do you think we had last night? How many buys?
Honestly, I'm going to throw a number out there at about maybe 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Even with the hurricane going on, where people
that
affected it at all?
I don't know. That could be a problem too. That's a good. I did not think of that, Robbie. I'm still going to shoot.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I'm going to shoot 1.4. I think it did probably 100,000. Yeah, I'm going to say 1.4.
It did 1.3.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1.4, 1.5.
Okay.
All right, Brian. We're going to get running, man. Thank you so much for the call.
Brian. Good call.
Hey, thank you, guys. Take it easy.
Got it, man.
Do.
Take care.
Good call. All right. Let's see here.
That switchboard is.
You'll be my new fool. Hey, Georgie.
Georgie, I'm going to tell you something before you get started. Let me just tell you something before you get started. I'm going to have to do my pie next week. I tried to go to the store today. The roads were closed. There was a fair on my street. I'm being honest with you.
Wow.
So I owe you. I apologize wholeheartedly. I owe you a pie next week. I guarantee you I will do it. I promise.
Georgie, are you going to accept this nonsense? You couldn't walk to the store and get the pie?
They had the whole roads closed. It was horrible. They did a festival. They did a festival today in Peabody, and I was stuck in Peabody. I was stuck in Peabody all day.
You were stuck in puberty all day. What are you talking about?
I'm telling you.
Hey, no.
He knows I'm good for it. He knows I'm good for it.
I don't know that.
Massachusetts earlier this week.
I don't know that.
Things are messed up.
You're on the other side of the country. What do you know about it? You know nothing about it.
Hey, I get alerts.
You get the news late. That's what you get. You guys get the news late in California. You don't even get all the news over there. Georgie, go ahead. Give it to him.
Go ahead, Georgie.
Go ahead, Georgie.
Listen, man. Beeb's evilness, no limits.
It's unreal.
Oh, God.
It's unreal.
Beeb is evil now. Uh-oh.
You don't see the champ doing stuff like this, Georgie, because the champ never loses, but that's neither here nor there.
My God.
You don't see me doing stuff like this.
I just want to advise the commission that as long as to reflect that the record says that is 6-2 that I'm a stand against Beeb. Beeb beat me 6 times. This is the second time that I beat him. But anyway, regardless who beat Beeb or whatnot, we just celebrate, brother. Because he was great for boxing. He was the best guy we've seen in a long time. I mean, I can go, I don't know. For me, it would be like Klitschko, AJ. For other people, maybe have some other opinions. But he was really good. Saved the year. I mean, Canelo, give it up to Mexico. Viva Mexico, cabrones. Shout out to all my Mexican people, bro, because they should be proud for what Canelo did. So he really made he made the fight. When they say that he won the story of the fight, definitely, brother, because imagine it would be the same rope-a-dope, the same boost, it would be even more closer. But on my eyes, I think Canelo won. On the middle round, that was all Canelo. I couldn't find a middle round listen, I got the first round, I give it to Triple G. Second, third, I give it to Canelo. Because that jab, Triple G is great. Whatever you want to say about Triple G, listen, man. The man did his thing. And he's there with the record book with fucking Hopkins, right? For the most defenses.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, in my opinion, or anybody's opinion, he's not going to count for shit. When history's said and done, he's going to be there. As you know what I'm saying, regardless who he fought. And now that Canelo got the torch and took his own, he took a lot from Triple G. Wow. He took his bells. He took his own. He took his Mexican style. He took everything.
He took it all last night. Yep, he sure did.
Do you think either fighter, is this a fight that changes?
I think Jordan going to drop Triple G endorsement deal.
Went there. Wow. Do you think both of these guys took a lot of punishment last night, in that this fight will change them, kind of like the Chavez fight, the Chavez-Taylor fight changed those guys? Do you think it was that kind of thing?
I think it's possible.
Not at all. Not at all. Nobody went down. Nobody was really hurt like that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Canelo seemed to be Golovkin seemed to be huffing and puffing more. And
I noticed that.
Yeah, he looked like he was having a harder time in there than Canelo was. I have to admit that.
I agree.
Yep.
Triple G's getting old. No matter what the fuck anybody said, bro. That's a fact.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely slowing down.
People forget. I just don't understand. Sometimes I listen to knowledgeable boxing fans, and they don't listen. After you hit 34, 35, you own boxing. You're not spring chicken. The time is kicking. Any night you gone. No, everybody can do the Hopkins shit.
Eric made a great point last week, though. Eric made a great point last week.
Tell him, Beeb.
Because if you're going to be an older fighter in this sport, you're going to have a style like Bernard Hopkins in order to have longevity. And Golovkin just didn't have that style. Eric is 110% correct in that assessment.
Great point by myself.
That's a great point.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Because Beeb, he treated his fucking body like a temple.
Yeah.
Like a fucking temple. And man never knew what the fuck a cigarette was or anything like that. Jesus Christ, but listen, brother, this was great for boxing. Really excited, really happy, because everything that I want to see happen on the fight really happened. Triple G got tested. Canelo didn't back up for shit. Back up, I think, was like in the 10th round or something like that. He was sort of hurt that he landed, that Triple G landed something good. But Canelo so just rise to a point that you heard people he made a believer out of me. I never been a Canelo fan, but for what he did yesterday, I'm on his wagon. So he needed to prove a lot, and he did that. He just did that. He just did amazing, brother.
90 seconds.
He did a great job, man. He really did. Can't take anything away from him.
Yeah, and Triple G just got like another few fights. Triple G is like in Adonis Stevenson fucking category. That he just, he just did what he did and he's on his way out. So I'm not saying he's easy pickings, but he took his second breath, like on what was it, like on the 9th round. What the fuck was the corner told him that he was losing? Abel said, listen, you're losing this shit.
Yep.
Yeah, then he went there and, pick it up and shit. But that bazooka jab, he was doing a beautiful he was putting all his weight on that jab. And it comes down to this on boxing. Power punches count more than the jab. Everything that is not a jab. So you can give Triple G a win based on the jab.
You know how many fucking jabs? Like if somebody laying a right hand, how many jabs you gotta land to change your mind on giving him the
10
round?
seconds.
How many jabs equal a right hand in scoring? That's what I'm trying to say.
That was a question I raised today. I mean, and it depends how hard the jab is. But I'm going to be honest with you. If a guy lands,
that was Cortez jab this dude was throwing out there. That just was beautiful. That's what I'm saying. That was a quality jab. So, and then how could you die against Canelo going forward, putting the body work, and his own jab once in a while?
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question. I mean, because it's debatable.
Rules on boxing, like if you go to the 10-score system, nobody even uses the 10-score. The most we do is a point. Why we don't use the 10-score like it's supposed to be? Because we always try to give the other guy a chance to get back on the fight. You never see nothing fucking score like fucking 2 to fucking 8 shit in the round. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there is certain, because when it comes to fucking judging boxing, that's why these experts got to get it right, because it's so complicated. If it's not complicated for motherfuckers who have followed the sport like we have, imagine for the casual fan, man. That's why people talk about robberies and this and that, and because it's not clear. There should be a consensus, and all these fucking mafias, all these so-called, the conglomerate first scumbaggery, the so-called canceling bodies. They're supposed to have of universal rules on how to score these things.
There you go. All right.
Good call.
Georgie, good call, man. Good pick, too.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Beeb.
Listen, everybody out there, support the channel, give the thumb up, because these people don't ask for anything. Take their time out of their life to give it the show.
No.
I'm gonna hit myself. I'm gonna hit myself with 2 pies next week just to make up for this.
We ain't going pay-per-view any day soon. We're okay.
I'm gonna hit myself. I'm gonna hit myself with 2 pies next week, Georgie, just to make up for this. I promise.
Listen, by Eric, I'm coming for that bill. Listen, I already got my Mando out. I know, don't be doing the wildest shit that you got fucking. It's the burn and all this selling to get Ortiz and then fucking, who the fuck is it now? Who was again now?
I tell you, I don't know. I tell you, you know, Georgie, it's funny, man. If I were you,
every fucking 6 months, you don't know who the fuck the WBC Mando
the thing is, man, it's like I would get so tired of losing if I were you. Why don't you? I mean, you had some success with Beeb. Why don't you stay that route?
I gotta draw.
You know what I mean?
I gotta draw against
Just
you.
stay that route. You don't want to do this. You don't want to lose again. I don't want you to lose again. My heart breaks every time I have to beat you. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah, right. Sure it does. Sure it does.
You guys, see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Okay,
all right, man.
Georgie's been ranked in the top 5 for 7 years now.
7 years.
Can't get rid of him.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh, brother.
All right. Once again, man, let's try to keep it to the point and keep it concise because we are on overtime now.
Yeah.
So here we go.
We got a lot to cover.
We got a ton to cover. We haven't even got to the news yet. We haven't even got to the next week. We haven't even got to the rest of the undercard yet. That's how crazy it's been tonight. This has been nuts, man.
But this is one of them nights where we got to let the callers have it, man. Because this, this was a good fight.
Hey guys, what's up?
Nacho. Wow, he's late. He's late tonight, man.
I know.
What happened, Nacho? Y'all celebrating?
Not really, because I wanted Golovkin to win, but I think Father Time is starting to knock on his door at this point.
Well, Father Time is undefeated, and Abel Sanchez should be careful what he asks for. That's all I'll say.
Oh, Robert,
yeah, it's starting
jumped off that bandwagon
quick. It's starting to become apparent that he's just not the same guy anymore. Last night was a perfect example. A few years ago, he would have probably thrown a hell of a lot more on the inside. And last night he was really reluctant.
and there was times where he had really good opportunities to let his hands go, and he just was not able to pull the trigger. And I just honestly think that at this point he's just going to start to decline. I don't know how much he'll decline. I think it'll be a gradual decline because he's not a guy who lives a crazy lifestyle outside of the ring.
No, he doesn't.
He tends to take care of himself. So I think it'll be more of a gradual decline. But at this point, like we've seen the best of him. And last night was just a perfect example of they waited him out just long enough, you know?
Yep.
They waited him out, and you could see it. You could see that there was times where he just couldn't pull the trigger anymore, and he showed glimpses of it towards the end of the fight where he really had Canelo in trouble, but he just was not able to put him away, and it cost him. And unfortunately, with Canelo being the house fighter, they were going to give him every benefit of a doubt, and that's what happened. It was still a hell of a fight, but you can just see that the decline with Golovkin is coming, and it's unfortunate because a lot of these guys, they went out of their way to duck and dodge him. Felix Sturm, Sergio Martinez, Danny Jacobs, all of these guys went out of their way to avoid him when he was, out there just destroying people, and they only took him on when they started to see the erosion coming. And it's unfortunate for Golovkin that, at this point, that's what his legacy might end up being, is that he was a really good middleweight, but he might not end up being an all-time great, because people will kind of nitpick his resume and basically, try to crap on his career for him not having been able to beat.
I don't know. If you were in his management, Nacho, would you advise him to continue fighting? Because I really don't know what his options are anymore.
Let's put the brakes on that, though. Let's put the brakes on that, though. What is it? He lost 2 close fights. He drew the fight.
I know, but
it's
Eric,
his only
with
loss.
his age and he has no belts, who does he fight? Who's going to want to fight him?
There's no incentive to fight him. That's the problem. There's no incentive anymore to fight him.
See, my point was at the beginning of the show, he's got no more negotiating power. Canelo took everything last night. So where does he go?
You don't think he can find a fight from here? To me, the only thing that makes sense is he.
Yeah, but you don't think he's going to get ranked again? You don't think he's going to be He's going to be a mandatory for somebody eventually. Who's to say the WBC doesn't rank him number 1 after this still?
Right.
They could still do that.
Remember, Beeb, David Lemieux won the number 1 spot last night. So
that was for the WBA, not for the WBC.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I don't know, guys. I think it's going to be tough, but if anything, I would hope that he challenges the winner of the Deverenchenko-Jacobs fight, possibly.
Yeah, he could get the winner of that.
I don't know. I'm with you, Robbie. I really don't see any clear options for him at this point. It's going to be really tough for him.
Last night, all of his negotiating power left the ring with Canelo.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he lost a lot of weight at the negotiating table last night, without question.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
I really don't know where he goes to from here. Eric, yes, I know he lost. He had a draw and he lost a very close fight, but now his options are off the table because he's got nothing to negotiate with now.
But negotiate for what? For another Canelo rematch? I mean, there's other fighters out there. I mean, that's not the only fight out there.
Yeah, it's possible we're going to do a third fight. That's why I asked Beeb earlier about the pay-per-view buys. Do you think they got more than the first time around? I don't know. Because there was a major hurricane that knocked over 1 million people out of their homes.
And this was one of the rare occasions where the rematch was actually better than the first fight. How many times does the first fight always better than the rematch?
Oh, I know. The rematch was much better. Although I don't know what we do about that 90-minute wait.
Oh,
that was horrible.
That was awful.
Speaking of the wait, guys. As far as the other fights on the card, Chocolatito, they gave him a comeback fight against the perfect, foil, and he went out there and he took care of business. But am I convinced that he's still an elite level 115 pounder? No.
No,
I still think that.
As far as I'm concerned, he's still on a banana peel.
Yeah, he's walking a tightrope, and it'll be interesting to see how they match him moving forward, because you can see he's not the same guy anymore. He's a lot easier to hit. He's not as mobile as he once was, and he's also like Golovkin. Father Time is starting to knock on his door as well.
Yep.
So it'll be very interesting to see who they match him up against moving forward. As far as the Lemieux O'Sullivan fight, I knew that was going to happen. It was only a matter of time as to when Lemieux was going to get O'Sullivan out there, because O'Sullivan's about a C-plus level guy, and he had never fought the type of competition Lemieux had fought. So it was just a matter of time before Lemieux was going to get him out of there, and did so in devastating fashion, which is what Lemieux has been known for in his career. He knocks guys out like O'Sullivan of that level, but yet when he fights guys who are on his level or better than him, he always ends up losing.
Yep.
So I wouldn't expect him, if he was to get the fight against Canelo in December, I wouldn't expect him to win that fight. I still would favor Canelo.
Canelo will walk right through David Lemieux.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what you do with him. I mean, because at this point he's proven that he can't beat guys who are better than him, and he can only destroy the guys who are below him. So it'll be very very interesting to see what they do moving forward with him as well. And then with Munguia, same thing. It was a perfect setup for him to make him look good for the pay-per-view audience. Brandon Cook had no shot in hell of winning that fight, and you could see it right away. He was just completely outgunned and outclassed. And so
I know he's got a belt, but come on, increase his competition level, will you please? Jeez.
Yeah, they're going to have to step up the competition, because that was a step back from Liam Smith.
Yeah, it was.
Night. So they got to figure something out as far as like how they match him going forward, because eventually he's going to have to face somebody with a name. But, you know, hopefully they can move him along and get him some more seasoning so he can get some more experience, because that fight last night didn't do anything, any favors for him. He basically just blew a guy out.
And don't give me the HBO excuse, well, he's only 21 years old. Well, guess what? He's 21 years old and he's got a title belt. Act like a champion.
You're talking about Munguia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Munguia.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, you knew it was going to be a showcase fight. I mean, I don't know why we're acting surprised. We knew it was going to be a showcase fight. He just fought Liam Smith. I thought was a really formidable contender, by the way. But we knew this was going to be a showcase fight, just like Chocolatito was going to be a showcase fight, just like the Lemieux.
Right.
We knew they were good people on the card, but we knew what we were getting. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And in all three cases, well, in Lemieux's and Munguia's case anyway, you know, step up the level of competition.
But
if you put Chocolatito in against anybody now who knows how to do anything, you're going to find out he's done.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
convinced.
I think he's done too, because that guy was custom made for him, and he was getting in shots. And if that guy would have just came forward a little bit in that fight, we got a different fight. I'm not saying he wins the fight, but we got a different fight. It's more for sure.
But let me ask you this, because you had 3 undercard fights, and they were all mismatches. Usually, shouldn't you at least get one other competitive fight on the card to kind of warm up the main event?
Absolutely.
I agree. You know, I tell you what, UFC does it right, because they start their pay-per-views, and I'm not advocating they started at 10 o'clock, but they started at 10 o'clock. The pay-per-view goes about 3 hours, and it's action from start to finish. There is no lulls. There's not a big lull there. PBC does the same thing. If you ever been to a PBC event, when you sit down at 5:30, the first guy walks out and it doesn't stop. TV, anything like that, I mean, whether it goes on TV or not, it doesn't stop. It's like a well-oiled machine. They keep going from start to finish, and there's no real lull in action. Every HBO card that I've been to, every HBO card that I've watched, whether it's on pay-per-view or not, there's always a long stretch where they just sit there and it's just nonsense, like an hour wait. I remember the Bronner fight when he came here and it was on HBO, and It was an hour wait. It was an hour wait for the Brawner fight, and they had it like they even broke it down. It was like 30-minute wait, because they were waiting for TV at that point.
Yeah.
Terrible. Their time management sucks.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. Okay, and real quick, guys, the other fight of the weekend that was just awesome was the Jose Ramirez Antonio Orozco fight.
Oh, I love that fight. That was a great fight.
That fight was awesome. That fight, both guys put their heart and soul into it, and they both went out there and they just beat the hell out of each other, and they entertained everyone watching, and they entertained the fans in the arena. And I got to give Ramirez credit. He basically was a lot better fighter than I anticipated him being against Orozco, because Orozco came in shape and he brought his A game, and he went out there and he fought his ass off, and Ramirez put him down twice, and I was totally surprised at how resilient Orozco ended up being and how he was able to bounce back. And the kid has the heart of a lion, and he'll be back. He's going to be back on TV sooner rather than later.
And you know what? He's got a wonderful hometown there. I mean, they fill up the place every time he fights.
Yeah, with Ramirez, they always sell out that arena in Fresno for sure. So it's going to be, interesting. The only thing with Ramirez, though, is that, how much do you wait for Prograis? Because, I mean, at this point, Prograis, I honestly feel, is going to go through the entire tournament. So he's going to get at least 3 or 4 fights before he fights Ramirez. So at this point,
he called out the winner of the Maurice Hooker fight, whoever Hooker's fighting next. That's
Salcedo Hooker?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad win, a bad matchup, because he unifies and he gets hopefully it's Salcedo, because Hooker, he'll run through Hooker, no problem. But Salcedo would be a different story. I think that kid would be like Orozco. He would give him a really tough, grinded out fight. So it would definitely be interesting to see what he does against him.
All right, Nacho.
Yeah, and
we got to get going here.
All right.
We got to get moving, man.
We
Thank you so much.
Nacho.
Good call as usual. Thank you. 480.
Good call, man.
480, you're live.
Hey, what's up, fellas? It's Brandon from Phoenix. How you guys?
Hey, Brandon,
how are you?
Hey, man, not much, man. Doing good. Always listening, man. I haven't been following that.
We appreciate it, man.
Anyway, let's get down to it, man. I thought Canelo to me, it was pretty clear. It wasn't too much controversy. I thought it was a clear victory. I'm not going to break it down like everybody else did. I think we all kind of know what happened. But what I would like to say is this, man. What do you guys really think Golovkin's legacy is after this? Because in my mind, I've always been a Golovkin fan, but I always have thought he was a bit overrated by the people who were super into him. The people who would tell you he's like the greatest middleweight of all time, and that group of people. But to me, this is my biggest problem with Golovkin, is that every time he's been met with a fork in the road of his career to take a tough fight or an easy fight, he's always taking an easy fight.
Give me an example.
And I think, so when he had the issue with this fight, right before this fight, instead of fighting Derevyanchenko, took Vanes. And when he had the issue, when he was going to fight Chris Eubank, instead of trying to fight a super middleweight like Miguel or somebody like that, he ended up fighting a Kell Brook.
Well, I think and I can't speak for Derevyanchenko, and I know there was, and maybe Robert could speak to it, but I know with the Kell Brook thing, the Kell Brook and Chris Eubank situation, when Chris Eubank pulls out of that fight, they either have to fold the promotion or they have to put Kell Brook in. I didn't advocate putting Kell Brook in, to be honest with you. I didn't really care for that. But if they didn't do that, then they lost the promotion. I mean, that whole thing would have folded.
Eddie Hearn served up Kell Brook to save that fight card, is what it was. And as far as the Derevyanchenko thing, from all the articles I read at the time, they were saying there wasn't enough money to make that fight happen on such short notice. That's why the Vanes thing happened. And that's one of the reasons why Golovkin is leaving HBO. He was upset that HBO didn't step forward to contribute, make that fight possible.
He was also pissed off he only got $1 million for it too, Robbie. That was publicized as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he won't be fighting on HBO anymore unless some kind of miracle happens.
Yeah, that could be true.
Saying, but I mean, it doesn't really matter what the excuses are. You know, in history, he's going to look back on it like, okay, this guy was a dominant middleweight champion, but his level of competition just wasn't such. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, he really only has himself to blame for that.
Well, in Brandon, both of those cases, they were both last-minute things, and he didn't really have any control over either situation. So I can't fault him for either one of those things.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily saying it's all his fault. I'm just telling you what the end result is.
Yeah.
And when we look back on it on history, people aren't going to have the intricacy to look at it with that eye. It's just going to be like, oh, he fought Kell Brook. Oh, he fought, Bonnet coming off a 2-year layoff or something like that. And that's kind of been the issue with the way that some of the stuff has been framed. I mean, like a earlier caller was saying, he just didn't have it in him to, he was slow on the trigger. I don't think he was slow on the trigger. I think that he's never necessarily been a great inside fighter like that. I mean, I've watched every Golovkin fight going back to when he got the championship belt, and I mean, even if you go back to the Uma fight, when Uma was all up on him, people have had success against Golovkin on the inside. He's normally really a great mid-range to long-range puncher is where most of his knockouts come. I mean, you don't really see Golovkin knock somebody out when they're chest to chest, shoulder to shoulder in those types of situations, So,
well, Brandon, I'll ask you the question I've asked other people today. If you were a part of his management, would you tell him to continue fighting?
Yeah. Continue fighting. I mean, he didn't get his ass whipped last night. He just lost. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he got just like embarrassed out there.
Even though he's 36 years old and does not have any title belts, nothing to offer anybody.
He's going to get more fights now. He's going to get more fights now that he lost than anybody's. No, everybody's going to want to challenge him now because they think they see a weakness, or they do see a weakness.
Okay.
He's going to get more fights now than he did beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of attractive opponents out there. I mean, the one shame I will say about his career is that the division really didn't liven up until, about the last 2 years.
Yeah.
When we were on that front end of it, when he first got on HBO and was fighting the Prostas and people like that and all that kind of stuff, the middleweight division, it wasn't popping like that. It really wasn't. You know what I mean? So I can't put, that on him. But now there's a couple of guys and interesting matches that we'd like to see. If he wanted to stay at middleweight, he could fight the winner of the Saunders-Andre fight, because both of those guys would be looking for a big fight. He could maybe fight the winner of he could fight maybe Charlo, even though I don't think they're going to want to do that. Or, coming out of nowhere, he could maybe step up to super middleweight and fight the winner of the Super Series. Because, a guy like George Groves, if he wins that fight, that's a big fight.
That's a big fight.
Pay-per-view.
It's a huge fight.
Yep.
And I heard somebody throw out the Murata fight, which I don't really want to see because I don't think Murata's really all that good, and I don't think he's beat anybody that deserves a Golovkin fight.
But in that person's defense, there's a large amount of money over there. If he wanted to go over to Japan and take that belt,
that's a good move.
He could make tons of money going
that
over.
That may very well be the next fight.
Yeah.
Top Rank will put it on ESPN. The hell with HBO.
That's going to feed into the narrative of what I just said. If he took Murata fight, is that okay? Of all the fights I just named out, Murata is definitely the easiest fight, and he went over there and took that fight. And I personally don't have anything wrong with that. But the thing about Golovkin is that he wasn't marketed to us in that way. He was supposed to be the anti that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the backlash comes from. If his persona wasn't the person to say, "Oh, I'll take anybody out." If there wasn't that whole statement of the 154 to 168 and all that kind of stuff.
Well, Sanchez is one that said that. Golovkin never said that himself.
That's true, but that's how he was promoted.
Yeah, but he's going to own that, though. He's going to be held accountable for it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's how he was promoted to it. So that's why I think fans like me or detractors or people who are big fans of him put that pressure on him to say, no, you need to, we need to see you in this fight, or, you know, we put up our noses on some of the lesser opposition like Devon's fight. You know, it just wasn't what we wanted to see. And like we've been saying for years, because he came to the spotlight at an advanced age. You know, the clock has always been ticking with him. So we always wanted to see him in the best fight, but we were always told, oh, he's trying to unify. Oh, he's trying to unify. You know what I'm saying? And that held us back from maybe seeing a couple of fights, you know, from back when he first came on the scene. You know, so that's just kind of what I think about Golovkin. Real quick, for next week, I got a question for you guys. What devices are you guys going to be using for DAZN?
Oh shit! Probably gonna have to use my phone and Chromecast it to the television set, right?
Does it have an app? Do they have an app yet?
They have an app, yeah.
All right, I'll just do it on iTunes. What is it? Apple TV. I'm sorry.
They're supposed to have an app, Eric. I don't know if they do.
Let me see.
I looked in the App Store on Google Play because I'm an Android guy, and the app had about, let me say, 1,500 reviews, and then it probably had about 1,000 5-stars, but it also had about 500 1-stars. So I'm kind of concerned.
A lot of people are concerned about it. I heard that the streams are sometimes they just shut off.
Yeah,
quality's not great.
I've heard a lot of negative things.
I've heard some negative stuff about the app.
Especially from people from Canada. Because apparently when you live in Canada, you get the NFL through DAZN, and apparently it does not work well.
Well, I'm going to give it a shot because I want to watch that fight next week.
I want to watch a Super Series too.
They had one fight card before. You know,
I don't know.
I think they should have had a previous fight card so we could kind of see how it works, get the bugs out, because there's going to be a lot of people. You know,
I'm kind of pissed off at Eddie Hearn for not re-signing with having Joshua re-sign with Showtime though. That pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's a big mistake.
That's fucking aggravating.
So it probably is a mistake, but I mean they're looking at the big picture, you know, and this is what everybody's going towards with streaming and over the top apps and things like that. So you know, he just wanted to be the first person to strike the iron, and it's his business, and they're just trying to be ahead of the curve. So you know, do I like it? No, I don't like it, but you know, it is what it is. You know. But anyway, man, I appreciate you guys letting me rock with you, man. You guys have a great show, man. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Brandon.
All right now.
Awesome. Hey, you know, it just hit me that Beeb, you have a loss. You just lost to Georgie on that pie.
Correct.
Robert, should he retire now? Because he has a loss.
Oh wow, you're gonna do me like that? Oh my god! Do me like that, Eric?
Robert sending guys out to pasture today.
Realistic, but I'm trying to look at the options that are available. Eric, you're probably right. He's probably going to get offered all kinds of things now.
If I have my druthers, you know, if you and I, let's be honest though, if you and I had our druthers, he should call it a career. Honestly, he should. Because he's got nothing else to prove. You were the middleweight champion. You have X amount of, you have all these accolades, nothing else to prove.
Yeah.
You and I live in the real world, though.
That's where I'm leaning for it. Yeah.
I'll be 110% honest with you. If I was him, I would fight Murata, get that huge payday, and then I would retire after that.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea.
They're talking about possibly moving up to super middleweight too. They were talking about that before this fight.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
But we'll see.
See. All right. Area code 503. 503. You're live. Maybe not.
Oh my God. What the hell?
The Mexican national anthem playing. Love it. We're not going to sit through second verses though. Love it. All right, we got to cut that short. But hey, I do appreciate that, man. That was awesome.
That's
go back to him, see if he's going to talk.
Uncalled for, Robert. He's from your neck of the woods in Oregon. That's the Mexican national anthem.
Go back to him. Go back to him. See if he's going to talk, Eric. Go back to him. See if he talks now.
You want to see if we? All right.
And then somebody calls up and plays the Mexican national anthem. That's not participating in our show.
Oh, how dare you, Robert? It's still going on.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I love it. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Well, I tell you what, we appreciate it, man. And Canelo did a great job last night, man, for sure. So, hey, he deserves that. And plus, Robert, what are you thinking about? It is Mexican Independence Day.
Robbie.
It's Mexican Independence Day, son.
Robbie.
It's Mexican Independence Day.
Robbie.
Please. I know you're Mexican, okay? But they didn't even play the Mexican national anthem last night before the fight.
Elena, my daughter was born on Mexican Independence Day. Today's her birthday, man. It is
happy birthday, Elena.
There you go.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Big thank you to Corey Lee Boxing for your contribution. Thank you so much, man. You know, it'd be awesome if he called back every week and played that.
I don't.
Go back to him. Go back to him. See if he's still playing it.
He dropped.
He dropped. Okay.
He dropped. Yeah, I would. He's still playing it. He just.
Oh my God.
Put on hold. You know what? I tell you what. It's so awesome that he stayed on hold to play that.
I love it.
So great.
I love it.
That's so great.
Hey, we got to give him credit for that.
All right. So we pretty much we covered the Jaime Munguia versus Brandon Cook. Munguia knocked him out in the third round. David Lemieux sparked out Spike O'Sullivan in the first round. Chocolatito did not look. I mean, he looked. You know, it was a fifth round knockout, but you can still see the slowing down of Chocolatito in that fight. You really can.
Yeah, no, nothing was proven last night that Roman's back.
Yeah, Ramirez and Orozco. Jose Ramirez, Antonio Roscoe.
I love that fight, man. It was great.
Wasn't it a good fight? Everybody says it was a good fight, but the score was 119-107 from all three judges. I mean, it was a completely one-sided fight. I didn't see it. I'll be honest, I didn't see it. But it was a completely one-sided fight. But everybody who saw the fight says it's pretty good. So, hey, I'll take your word for it.
No, I thought Orozco actually did better than what the judges gave him credit for. Ramirez just showed up and proved that he deserves to have the title, and I like this kid because he's doing the Terrence Crawford thing. Every time he has a fight in Fresno, which is his hometown, the place sells out. It's a lot like Omaha. It's great.
Such a homer. Isn't Fresno like in your neck of the woods?
About 5 hours away.
You're such a homer. You're such a homer. That's right in your backyard. What's the matter with you? All right, upcoming fights.
Okay, go ahead.
September 21st, Robert. That's got to be a Friday, yes?
That's a Friday.
All right.
Showbox.
Yes, Showbox from Shawnee, Oklahoma. John Fernandez versus Oshaki Foster. Or Oshaki Foster? 10 rounds, junior lightweights. I think it is too. Urban Gonzalez Jr. versus Carlos Ramos, 8 rounds featherweights. So there you go. Let's see here. On September 22nd, Saturday, from across the pond in London on DAZN, baby. DAZN.
DAZN, Daddy!
Making their presence felt. And I just checked. Checked iTunes, Apple. If you have Apple TV, you can download the DAZN app. So there you go. I'm pretty sure you can. I didn't check Apple TV.
Download it, baby.
So, yeah.
Courtesy of Chromecast.
I don't know, man. I'm watching it. I don't care.
I'm watching it. What time's it going to start?
I don't know. It doesn't say. I would imagine around 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Around 5 o'clock. But look, man, I think what? I'm buying. Because I want to see the World Boxing Super Series. I'm getting it. I don't care.
When's the World Boxing Super Series start?
Soon.
October.
I'm not sure.
October.
Yeah. What Robbie said. October. All right. Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin. 12 rounds for Joshua's IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight title. Yvonne Mendy versus Luke Campbell, a rematch, 12 rounds for the WBC lightweight eliminator. Matty Askin versus Lawrence Akoli, 12 rounds for Askin's British cruiserweight title. I can't wait to see that one. I like Lawrence Akoli. David Price versus Sergey Kuzmin, 10 rounds heavyweights. From Monterrey, Mexico, on Robbie's favorite station, BN Sports, Arceli Musino versus Maria Salinas, 10 rounds for Musino's WBA women's flyweight title. How about that, Robert?
And by the way, BN Sports is no longer on DirecTV. They must have not came to an agreement because I passed by the channel yesterday and it said no longer available.
It said no habla when Robbie went on there. It's on Sling TV. If you guys have Sling TV, you can get it through there also.
Yep.
From Las Vegas on the Mayweather Promotions on Facebook, Saturday, Cameron Creo versus Jose Borrego, 10 rounds junior welterweights. Xavier Martinez versus Oscar Bravo, 8 rounds lightweights. Some up-and-comers there. Let's see if there's anything else here of interest. Doesn't look like it. No.
Probably not.
Nothing. Robert, you said it better than I could have. Nothing of interest. All right.
Yeah.
How do we see the big fight going down? Anthony Joshua, Alexander Povetkin. I'm going to call it right now. Joshua, knockout with an 8.
Wow.
I think it'll take between 9 and 10 rounds, but Joshua knocks him out, stops him.
All right, Beeb, you've been heavily critical of Joshua. You said that Povetkin has a chance. It's time.
I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight went the distance.
Who do you think?
Whoa.
But what I am going to pick, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Anthony Joshua by 10th round knockout or TKO.
Well,
because I'm going to be honest with you. That Carlos Takam fight, I thought could have went on. I thought it was stopped a little early in that 10th round. And, Alexander Povetkin, it has a little bit of a similarity to Takam. Doesn't move as well, but they both fight pretty well on the inside. They both kind of try to grind it out up close. And they both throw a good amount of punches. And Joshua's just been fighting differently. I think he knows that Wilder fight or that Fury fight is hanging in the balance. And he wants to make sure he doesn't take any chances to, put those two fights or those two potential fights in jeopardy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went the distance, but I'm going to go TKO 10th round. But go ahead. Make your point.
No, I think, I could see it going either way. I can't see it going either way. I can see it going the distance, but I think Joshua gets him. I mean, it's in front of 75, 80,000 people, man. I mean, that's
Povetkin's a tough cookie, though.
He is, but he's old, and he's nowhere, he's nowhere near his prime.
Nope,
he shouldn't be fighting anymore. He shouldn't be fighting anymore. He should be banned. He's got multiple PEDs, and he's been busted a couple of times now. I mean,
Yeah, and how the IBF made him a mandatory is beyond me.
Yeah, that's all. That's the other thing too. How did that actually happen? So I don't know. Fishiness.
Yet they don't rank Sean Porter, but they make Alexander Povetkin a mandatory for a title.
Right. All right. So news and rumors. Manny Pacquiao threatening to sue Top Rank. Manny Pacquiao took to social media this week to let Top Rank know that he was filing a lawsuit against them for some unpaid fees. 24 hours later, he took to social media and said everything had been worked out. What? I don't understand. Is this really the best way to go about a lawsuit or a disagreement is on Twitter or Instagram or whatever he did?
Well, if you think about it, Eric, I'm not defending what Pacquiao did here, but if you remember when Mikey Garcia had his dispute with Bob Arum, if Instagram and Twitter would have been around back then, I think Mikey would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
It just seems weird that Pacquiao's waiting until now in the twilight of his career for all this stuff to be coming out now, because during the heyday, when he was doing very well, he had no problem with Bob Arum. And then there was another issue too when even Floyd Mayweather brought this up, where while he was signed to Bob Arum, he took money from Golden Boy and actually try to go with Golden Boy Promotions at the same time as that he was signed with Top Rank. And then we all saw what he did with Freddie Roach recently. So the guy's kind of got some weird business practices, so to speak. Doesn't seem to be the most loyal guy in the world. It's always everyone else's fault when things go wrong instead of his, whether it be the wrong shoes, the wrong gloves, the other guy's on steroids, not me. It's like, I don't know. This just seems bizarre to me that all of a sudden he's got a problem with Bob Arum. And meanwhile, Bob Arum was an integral part of him getting that Mayweather fight.
Yeah.
So, what's going to happen now? Will Bob Arum just ultimately end up releasing him and getting rid of him and not even dealing with him anymore? Because we saw what happened with Bob Arum with Miguel Cotto. We saw it happen with Bob Arum with Mikey Garcia and other fighters. And I don't know. Bob's old school. He believes if you sign a contract, you live up to it. No one forced these guys to sign the contracts they signed. If they didn't understand the contracts they signed, then they should have had legal representation look over the contracts, which probably they did or probably they didn't. I don't know. But ultimately, you go into an agreement and you honor the agreement. And then if you don't want to honor the agreement, then that's on you. Seems to me that you would be in the wrong, not the other person.
Everything's always somebody else's fault, like you said. Everything.
Yeah, always someone else's fault.
Never his fault.
Yeah.
He blames everybody else. Never looks in
takes no ownership for anything.
Nothing.
Nope,
Nothing. That's
he
what
never
bothers
has.
me about him. That's really what bothers me about him. So, speaking of Manny Pacquiao, Beeb, it's time.
Elena, go ahead.
Elena, we have a special guest. The birthday.
We are passing it to you.
You get the torch today. It's time for our train wreck of the week. Let's hear it.
Chugga 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 choo choo.
Oh, I love
Oh my God, that had some soul to it. Had some soul to it. I loved it. Little soul.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Only way it could have been better if I did it myself. I mean, that was.
Well, let's not get carried away there.
That was great.
Eric, you might have sounded like Beeb. Let's not go there.
All right. How about that? Adrian Bronner getting banned from Uber was not train wreck of the week. How about Jason's call was not train wreck of the week? How about this? Mayweather Pacquiao 2 is actually coming soon. That is our train wreck of the week. Floyd Mayweather posted a video on Instagram of him and Manny Pacquiao agreeing to another fight. Mayweather then announced that he will face Manny Pacquiao again this year in a rematch. This was posted all over on ESPN, everywhere. I can't even throw up loud enough to tell you my displeasure with this whole thing. This is awful. Awful.
Is this real, Eric, or is he trolling?
Punked? I mean, seriously, am I being punked? Can I just wake up?
Is he trolling, Robbie? Is he trolling?
Okay, now, Eric, I got to ask you a question. I've heard this everywhere. I've seen this everywhere. Is there actually a contract in place, and have they signed it? And do we have an official date?
We don't have an official date. They don't. I'm 90% sure they don't have a contract in place. I'm sure they're going to get one together. I mean, and Floyd Mayweather claims he's going to make another 6 figures, or 7 figures, or whatever it is, or 9 figures. I think he's. Who knows?
Really? It's only 3 months away. Does that mean you've already started training camp for this?
That's how he does it, though. I mean, that's how he does most of those fights.
Yeah, he usually announces them like 2 months in advance.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you know what this does? This screws up the whole Wilder Fury thing, like the caller said earlier.
Well, is that part of the plan, though? Possibly. I mean,
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. I mean, he works with Heyman, so
yeah.
Because Showtime has been telling everybody every time they have a fight card that they're going to have the Wilder Fury fight on pay-per-view, and Al Heyman's going to make room for Mayweather Pacquiao. So does that mean Wilder and Fury get pushed off to next year?
Well, maybe what if this happens? What if Wilder Fury actually does end up happening in November? Because what if both guys are training right now as we speak? What if the fight does happen in November? Then you'd put a pay-per-view in December. But You know, how many pay-per-views do they normally have in December? Really, you think about it. That's a bad month, no? Because Christmas time and stuff.
Horrible month.
Yeah.
With Christmas and everything like that, it's a horrible month.
Horrible month, right?
Because I guarantee you, I'm not buying a Mayweather Pacquiao 2, especially
I'm not
in
buying
December.
it.
My God.
I won't buy it. I won't buy it, period, man. And I tell you, I almost like, I was thinking about it, like, do we even cover this kind of thing? You know what I mean? I don't know. But I guess we covered Mayweather McGregor, so obviously we'll cover it. But
well, when I first heard this story, Eric, I thought it was some kind of joke.
yeah, I mean, it's such a, like, and this is going to be your 52nd, I guess. Come on, man, really? You and Pacquiao, you want to fight somebody? Fight Keith Thurman. That's a fight I can get behind. Fight Errol Spencer, Sean Porter. Fight somebody. Come on.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna pay Manny Pacquiao to get out of Bob Arum's contract so he can sign a deal with
Contract may be up. Who knows? Did Pacquiao sign an extension?
Right. No, I don't. Who knows?
From what I hear, the lawsuit is not about the contract per se. It's about money that was not paid to him that he feels is owed to him by Bob Arum. That's what I read.
And then he came back and said, "No, everything's fine." You know.
So what are you gonna do? Is he gonna sign with Al Heyman and be a PBC fighter now?
I don't know. That will be the most bizarre thing ever if that occurs.
Well, I tell you, the contract to sign with Pacquiao is about as good as whatever. But yeah, so we have that to look forward to. Yeah.
No, I ain't looking forward to it because I ain't gonna buy it. I don't care who wins. I don't care who loses.
It's such an
I'm sorry, we gotta
insignificant
talk about
fight. It's such an insignificant thing. Yeah. Who would you rather watch? Would you rather watch Mayweather Pacquiao, or would you rather watch Victor Ortiz fight again?
Well,
let me ask you this: would you rather watch Mayweather Pacquiao again, or would you rather watch Chuck Liddell Tito Ortiz?
Liddell Ortiz.
Me too.
Yeah, I'd totally watch Liddell Ortiz.
Yeah, that's actually probably going to be a good fight. I'm a little concerned about Liddell though. A little concerned about Liddell.
Taking a lot of shots, man.
Yeah. I'm just concerned about that.
My favorite story of the week. Cincinnati Pride just beaming. Uber has banned our own. Why are there so many Adrian Bronner haters on Uber? I don't get this.
Well, he's a train wreck world champion of all time.
There it is.
Can he still take Lyft?
That's right. Lyft will have him.
Lyft will have him, right?
Did you see the video? Did you guys see this video?
Oh, it was cringeworthy.
World.
Oh my God, it was disgusting what he did to that poor old guy.
Bronner took an Uber ride and just went nuts. He was in the car, wanted a song on the radio louder, and then he just started screaming at the top of his lungs and dancing in the car. The guy's driving in the rain, mind you. He has to pull over. It's an old, looked like an Indonesian fellow or something like that. He pulls over and he says, "Look, you guys got to go. I can't do this." And he told everybody to get out. So Bronner this moron puts this video on his social media. This airhead puts the video on his social media, okay? And then wonders why he gets banned from Uber. Uber sees the video, and then a rep from Uber told TMZ company officials looked into the incident and decided that Bronner's behavior was unacceptable, and his access to the app has been revoked. They took away his access.
What an idiot. Do you ever watch those videos you watch those videos sometimes on YouTube or Facebook where you have like a big bully picking on somebody, and then out of nowhere, like the guy that is the bully gets the shit smashed out of him. Like one day he's just gonna walk up to the wrong person. He's gonna look because sometimes you look at somebody and you may not think they're much, but you can get surprised. One day, I envision him walking up to the wrong guy, trying to punk the wrong guy, and just getting lit up. There's only so many times you can play that punk bully role.
In all seriousness, here's a serious question.
Sure.
Remember I asked the same question about Jermaine Taylor. Do you think Adrian Bronner is suffering from CTE?
Well, whether it's CTE,
like that. I mean,
yeah, he's got something going on.
Right.
Something psychological is not right.
look at the trouble that Jermaine Taylor is in. Adrian Broner's headed down the same path.
Yeah.
I gotta wonder, did he take too many shots?
Good question.
Maybe he's just a goof. I don't know.
He's
I don't know.
He's a fucking bonehead.
Yeah, I mean, you know. Yeah, I just like.
He's just a fucking bonehead.
You know, would it be funny if that guy was like a black belt in jiu-jitsu or
That's
something?
that's what I'm saying, Eric. That's
up.
what I'm saying. You can see some guy that's like 60 years old, and he walk up to him, start talking shit to him, and all of a sudden the guy just starts doing backflips and kicking him in the head.
Choking him, you know, just choking him out right there.
You know,
it's insane.
Yeah, let's see him walk up to Jackie Chan and pull that garbage.
Oh, Bronner, kill Jackie Chan. He's from Cincinnati, Title Town, baby. All right, let's talk about another potential train wreck of the week here. Oscar De La Hoya talks about running for president.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, apparently he's serious about running for president in 2020.
Oh, no.
He wants to go against Donald Trump.
Oh, no.
You think about this for a minute. He's on video taking spoons. You know, I'm just saying. And I thought it's probably not that different than what we have.
Video wearing women's clothes.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, it's not really the kind of thing that you know we look for in the president. But then, you know, I don't want to go there.
Oh my God,
you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going.
I know where you're going.
You're horrible, Beeb. He's our president, Beeb.
No, thank you.
That's messed up. Beeb, that's messed up. All right.
I mean, he is our president. Got to accept it. If you believe in the electoral process, then he's our president. You have to accept it.
Yeah. Well, hey, and
whether those videos exist or not.
I vote every election. We got one coming up in November. You know.
That's it.
But,
Rob, you going to vote for him?
You going to vote for Trump again?
If it was a choice, I got to ask you guys seriously. If it was a choice between Donald Trump and Oscar De La Hoya in November,
Donald Trump. I'd vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I got to put it down. I don't know.
Robbie, let me ask you this: Donald
drugs. This guy's crazy without drugs. I don't know.
Donald Trump versus Elizabeth Warren. Who would you vote for?
I take Warren.
Honestly,
take Warren.
Yeah.
I'll take Warren.
I'm not a Warren fan, but I'd have to vote for her. I'm very disappointed with the way Donald Trump has done things.
Robbie, you vote for Warren, huh?
Did you vote for Trump the first time, Robbie?
I'm not an Elizabeth Warren fan, but I would have to, because I'm very disappointed with the way Donald Trump has handled the presidency. I don't want to get political here, but I'm very disappointed with the way things are.
Yeah. You voted for Trump, didn't you, the first time around?
I didn't vote.
California. He's in California, yeah, because he's in California, but it wouldn't have mattered. You know,
wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah,
my state's more liberal than his state.
Yeah.
I live in the most liberal state. The last time a Republican won in this state was when Ronald Reagan won in 1984. That was the last time.
No, that's the last time a Republican won a lot of, you know. I mean, in that particular election, it was 49-1 as far as states. 49-1, you know.
Ronald Reagan, like.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Serious question. Would you rather Trump be elected again? Would you rather that, or you have to watch Mayweather Pacquiao too? Which one would you rather do?
Unfortunately, I'd rather have Donald Trump elected again.
Oh wow!
Wow! Pacquiao too. I can't do it.
Oh my goodness!
I can't do it. They took $100 from me once. Yeah, they ain't going to do it again.
Wow! Over $100. Robbie put the country behind for $100. That's jacked up. Frank Warren.
Come on, Eric. You wouldn't buy that. And Beeb, you buy everything. Would you honestly spend money for a second one?
Doesn't matter what I say. I'm going to end up doing it because I'm so sick.
I know we suck.
I'm a sick, degenerate boxing fan.
Sickness is deep, son. All right, we gotta get moving here because one thing we only got a couple minutes before it shuts off here. YouTube will keep going. But,
yeah, we got to get out of here.
Frank Warren and Top Rank have entered into a multi-year agreement which will provide fights on ESPN Plus Gervonta Davis gets locked up Friday for engaging in a street fight outside of a Washington bar over a restaurant bill. Go figure that one out.
I heard about that.
Tony Bellew, friend of the show, will face Usyk on November 10th. Alexander Usyk on November 10th. Eleider Alvarez versus, you guessed it, Sergey Kovalev is set for 2019 rematch on ESPN. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside73 on Twitter, and we will see you next week.
All right, guys.